The era of Beast Girls begins with a pact with an SSS-Level School Beauty. Welcome back, brave explorers of impossible worlds. We are excited to have you here to continue this odyssey together. Before we continue, everything you'll hear is pure fiction. So please don't try to replicate combat techniques at home. This wonderful story in all its rights belong to its brilliant original author. We are only the messengers of entertainment. Want another dose of adventure? Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a single chapter. And if you can't wait, our Patreon has exclusive surprises you'll love. Chapter 576 Erasing the Will of the Gods. Human Emperor, time is running out for Gu Qingcheng. It all happened so suddenly, even I didn't expect this accident to occur. Gu Qingcheng's fate is no one's fault but our destiny. The ancestral empress's tone grew increasingly anxious. The situation had reached a critical point. Before the energy ripple screen, Ziran and Cheng Bingxi's faces turned pale. It's over, it's truly over this time. If they directly confronted the nascent primordial will, they would die. If they withdrew and didn't merge with a primordial source, they would also die. Either way, they were doomed. There was absolutely no possibility of Qingcheng being resurrected. Zhang Zunan looked anxious. My lord, what is this round bead? Can it help? My lord gave it to me back then, saying it would come in handy. Now is the crucial moment. My lord wouldn't have played a trick on me. Cheng Bingxi patted Zhang Zunan's back. This is fate, we can't change it. Don't make things difficult for your lord. Perhaps, the future Qingcheng in her obsessive form shouldn't exist. We didn't have much contact with the future Qingcheng in her obsessive form, and our feelings for her aren't strong. Qingcheng in our current timeline is still alive. The future Xiao Ye can definitely save her. Zhang Zunan was unusually angry, her eyes red as she said, no, whether mistress is in her obsessive form or her complete form, as long as she is Gu Qingcheng, she is my mistress, Zhang Zunan's mistress. Mistress has guarded the empty room for my lord for 100 years. This kind of persistence and protection is more precious and rare than anything else. My lord, please speak. She stamped her foot impatiently, somewhat annoyed. Xiao Ye, who had been looking at the information on the will adjuster, snapped out of his reverie and immediately used his authority to remotely communicate with the Space Ancestor Queen's will in the Altar World. Retreat. Protect Sister Qingcheng from retreating. Don't confront the nascent form of the origin will head-on. Thank you. As soon as he finished speaking, on the large screen, the Space Ancestor Queen's divine will sighed and quickly emerged from the origin of the rules of fate. Within the vast and divine will, there was also a weak will. The human emperor, has he also given up? In front of the large screen, Zhang Zunan, like a wilted eggplant, drooped her head, dejected, and choked out, Mistress, I'm sorry. Little Nanan is still as useless as ever. Back then, she could only follow behind you picking up trash, and now that you're in trouble, I can only watch helplessly from the sidelines. Is a mistress with a lingering attachment really not allowed to exist? She began to doubt her beastly existence. Ziran and Cheng Bingxi, one on each side, grabbed her small hands, trying to offer her some comfort. Seeing the ancestral queen's will emerge, Xiao Ye's heart, which had been hanging in suspense, settled back into his stomach, and he breathed a sigh of relief. With a will adjuster in hand, he no longer feared any god. Turning his head, he was immediately startled and exclaimed in astonishment, What's wrong with you all? You look like someone's dead. Cheng Bingxi, Zhang Zunan, and Ziran all looked grief-stricken, and upon hearing this, a question mark appeared above their heads. Then, all three women became furious. Xiao Ye, you still have the mind to joke. Future Qingcheng is doomed. HMPH, my lord, I want to bite you. Xiao Ye. How can you talk like that? Facing the glares of the three women, Xiao Ye smiled slightly and said, Don't worry, with me here, future Qingcheng won't die. Zhang Zunan sobbed, wiping away her tears with her small hands, looking pitiful, and said, My lord, you've let that empress out, the mistress will die. Cheng Bingxi patted her shoulder, I know you want to cry, but don't cry yet. Xiao Ye said that, he must have a way. Ziran's beautiful eyes lit up, Xiao Ye, you really have a way? Xiao Ye nodded, holding the dark blue bead in his hand, and said, the treasure that my future self left for me on the little maid. It can erase the will of all things in the world, and it can also integrate the will into all things in the world. Future Qingcheng can be saved. Zhang Zunan sniffed, jumped and hung on Xiao Ye, and said happily, My lord, then let's hurry up and save the mistress. I used to use this round bead to crack water walnuts. I didn't feel it had any special properties. I never expected it to be so useful in your hands." Ziran and Xie Mengxuan were overjoyed. Their sorrow vanished instantly, and the beautiful eyes were bright as they stared at Xiao Ye, at the dark blue round bead in his hand. "King Cheng is saved? That's wonderful. Future King Cheng's life isn't meant to end." "What do you mean by fate? Our destiny is in our own hands." While Xie Mengxuan was overjoyed, her gaze remained fixed on Xiao Ye. In recent times, he had displayed a variety of abilities, solving template problems, upgrading templates, and possessing treasures like the Time-Space Palace and the treasure-seeking pointer. Were these things sent back by his future self? Xie Mengxuan knew Xiao Ye better than anyone else. After thinking for a moment, Xie Mengxuan nodded. It was definitely true. In the altar world, as the vast and sacred will emerged, the original body of the rules of destiny gradually calmed down from its violent state. The tornadoes of destiny rules and the rivers of destiny origin throughout the world gradually subsided and disappeared. The power of rules and origin flowing from the source of destiny rules were also completely withdrawn. All the anomalies in the altar world vanished. Only the destroyed forests and mountain ranges indicated that a great upheaval had just occurred here. In the sky, a vast and magnificent source of destiny rules remained peaceful and serene, radiating brilliant and colorful light, quietly occupying half of the world. The vast and sacred will of the Space Ancestor Empress occupied the remaining half of the altar world. A blue light gate appeared. Xiao Ye walked out with Xie Mengxuan, Ziran, and Zhang Zunyuan. "I'm sorry, Human Emperor, I can't help with the matter of merging wills again." The sacred will of the Ancestor Empress emanated a somewhat ashamed voice. Once again, she felt dissatisfied with herself. Despite being the second strongest god on Blue Star, she was completely helpless in many matters. Xiao Ye waved his hand. "It's alright, I have a way." "Where's Sister King Cheng? Is she alright?" The Ancestral Queen's divine will opened its embrace, revealing a faint trace of its own will, and said, "She's here. Under my nurturing, she won't simply dissipate." "Wait, Human Emperor, you said you have a way?" She was quite surprised. Xiao Ye nodded, put the dark blue bead into his pocket, and issued a command in his mind. "Erase the newly born will within the origin of the rules of destiny." Boom! A supreme power descended, enveloping the entire origin of the rules of destiny. In an instant, the Ancestral Queen's divine will trembled instinctively, and a tremendous fear instinctively surfaced in her heart. Why is this happening? She couldn't see the supreme power, nor could she sense it, but the sense of crisis brought by that great terror made her feel cold all over, as if her will was about to collapse. As she pondered, the Ancestral Queen was shocked to see the origin of the rules of destiny emit a miserable cry. That miserable cry sent chills down the spines of everyone present. Then, the brilliant, colorful light of the origin of the rules of fate dimmed, as if it had lost its magic, becoming lifeless. The Space Ancestor Empress exclaimed in horror, "Ah, the newly born nascent will within the origin has vanished." Chapter 577 Gu King Cheng's Resurrection in the Future. The lifeless state of the original body of the rules of destiny was exactly the same as it had been 20,000 years ago. Both were the result of the erasure of the original will. The Human Emperor could erase the will of a god? Then he could erase my will too. The image of the Human Emperor was infinitely elevated in the mind of the Ancestral Empress, reaching an unprecedented height. The problem that had baffled her was easily solved by the Human Emperor. In some ways, the Human Emperor was even more sublime and noble than she, the Ancestral Empress. Xie Mengxuan, Ziran, and Zhang Zunyuan felt nothing. In their eyes, the colorful light of the original body of the rules of destiny dimmed, becoming lifeless, devoid of any vitality. Zhang Zunyuan exclaimed in surprise, "My lord, has the nascent will been erased?" Xiao Ye nodded. He had received a message from the will adjuster. The original will of the rules of destiny has been erased. The will fusion function can be used to fuse a new will. The master can divide their own will and fuse it. It can also forcibly fuse any will from all things in the world into it. Yay, that's great. My lord, you're amazing. Zhang Zunyuan jumped up excitedly, clinging to Xiao Ye, and pouting as she gave him a kiss on the cheek. Xiao Ye wiped the wetness from his face, supporting Zhang Zunyuan's bottom with one hand, and said, "Now is not the time for playing around. Your mistress hasn't been resurrected yet." "Okay." Zhang Zunyuan obediently jumped down. She was in heat, and just now, subconsciously, she wanted to get close to Xiao Ye. Cheng Bingxi and Zhu Ran watched with smiles. Xiao Ye said, Empress, release the will of future King Cheng. I'm going to fuse her into the original body of the rules of destiny. Okay. The ancestral Empress's sacred will suddenly receded, floating high in the sky, some distance away. She was still shaken. The overwhelming sense of crisis was terrifying. If the human emperor wanted to attack her, she felt utterly powerless to resist. He could easily torment her. Xiao Ye issued a command to the will adjuster, perfectly integrate the future Gu King Cheng's will into the essence of the rules of destiny, allowing her to perfectly control it. Boom. A silent roar. Supreme power descended from the sky. The will of the space ancestor empress, suspended high in the air, trembled violently, this time feeling even stronger than before. The intense sense of crisis was 100 times greater. Was the human emperor attacking me? But she was mistaken. The supreme, mysterious power descending from the sky bypassed the divine will high above and landed on the weak will of the future Gu King Cheng. What is this? The future Gu King Cheng felt incredibly warm, like soaking in a hot spring, her whole body feeling comfortably warm. Her vision changed, passively shifting to the essence of the rules of destiny. Under the influence of supreme power, the very essence of the rules of destiny offered no resistance. The integration of Gu King Cheng's will into the future proceeded smoothly. It was as if she had gained a body, able to sense every part of the essence of the rules of destiny. Her will seemed to be nourished, rapidly growing stronger and larger from its initial weakness. Within seconds, her will had grown to a level comparable to half the strength of the primordial empress, the early stage of the third stage of the emperor realm. Gu King Cheng felt no emotional fluctuation upon sensing her own realm. She only felt that she had suddenly become much stronger, no longer as frail as before. The essence of the rules of destiny, from its dull and lifeless state, became vibrant and colorful, illuminating the entire outer world. The brightness of the colors was more than 100 times stronger than before. Will integration successful, perfect fusion. Xiao Ye received a message from the will adjuster. The sacred will of the primordial empress of space had gathered, solidified, and returned to her spatial essence body. Her tightly closed eyes suddenly snapped open, revealing a pair of unparalleled, radiant eyes. She eagerly exclaimed, Human Emperor, Gu King Cheng has been resurrected. Do you have a way to erase the will of a god? Even though she was already certain, this matter was of utmost importance, and she couldn't help but ask directly. Xiao Ye nodded and smiled, that's right. Hiss. The space ancestor empress gasped, her radiant eyes filled with shock. This news was too explosive. This ability was too heaven-defying. Enough to change the current landscape of the gods on Blue Star. A wave of fear washed over her. Thankfully, she hadn't offended the human emperor, hadn't chosen to be his enemy. Otherwise, she, the ancestor empress, might have become the second god to fall, a laughingstock among all the gods. The first was the god of destiny 20,000 years ago. Sister, your choice was right. The human emperor was worth pledging allegiance to. From this moment on, the human emperor was the true human emperor of Blue Star. The human emperor who ruled over everything on Blue Star. Gods, in his eyes, were no longer a threat. The primordial queen of space thought to herself. Cheng Bingxi, Zhu Ran, and Zhang Zunyu stared blankly at the origin of the rules of fate above. King Cheng doesn't remember us anymore. Sigh, in her eyes, we're probably just strangers. From now on, King Cheng will be her god of fate, and we'll walk our own path. Xiao Ye said helplessly, let's leave her for a while, she won't get into any trouble anyway. We have our own things to do. The primordial queen's eyes lit up, and she raised her hand, revealing a piece of spirit wood radiating a profound aura on her crystal clear, white palm. This is the root of the world tree that grew from the black hole at the center of the Milky Way, called Jianmu. It can help gods sculpt perfect bodies. We can have the god of destiny create a body for her to follow us. After spending time with a human emperor, she might regain her memories. Zhang Zunyu immediately accepted the spirit wood. Great. Great. No matter what form the mistress takes, she will always be my mistress. She must be with a lord. If she can fall in love with a lord once, she can fall in love a second time, a third time. So what if only willpower remains? So what if memories are lost? Some things cannot be decided by memories alone. Xiao Ye slapped his forehead, speechless. Little maid, this belongs to the Empress. How can you take it so easily? How about this, Empress? I have a few things here. Choose one, and I'll exchange it for the Jianmu. He spread out his rough, large hand. Several items from the system space transferred to his palm, fragments of the Dao of space, droplets of the origin of the Dao of space, fragments of the Dao of time. The primordial queen of space stared intently at them, a look of longing appearing on her face. Those fragments of the Dao of space and the droplets of the origin of the Dao of space held a fatal attraction and allure for her. But she knew clearly in her heart that she was only after the human emperor's favor and trust, not for these things. The primordial queen withdrew her gaze with difficulty, closing her eyes tightly as she said with difficulty, "No, human emperor, my sister, the time empress, has already accepted your things. I cannot accept any more." Xiao Ye's lips twitched. "When you say that, could you let go of my hand?" The primordial queen verbally refused, but her hands uncontrollably reached for Xiao Ye's hand. Chapter 578 The Strange Reaction of the God of Fate. That crystal-clear jade hand tightly gripped a fragment of the spatial Dao. Ah! The Space Ancestor Empress opened her eyes and saw her small hand firmly clutching the fragment of the spatial Dao. Her pretty face flushed, and she awkwardly released her slender, white hand. This fragment of the spatial Dao was too attractive to her. She hadn't even realized it, she had grabbed it. "Human Emperor, I keep my word, I absolutely will not accept any reward. I helped you voluntarily," the Space Ancestor Empress said very firmly. If it weren't for her arrogant gaze fixed on the fragment of the spatial Dao, Xiao Ye would almost have believed her. You helped me voluntarily. Since you don't want it, then I won't give it to you." Xiao Ye directly put away the 3 items floating in his hand. The Space Ancestor Empress withdrew her gaze, but the disappointment in her heart was almost showing on her beautiful face. Xiao Ye's lips twitched, and he took out a fragment of the spatial Dao and stuffed it directly into the Space Ancestor Empress's arms. He smiled faintly. "Miss, this is a gift for you, not a reward. It's a present. If you refuse again, you'll seem pretentious." The Space Ancestor Empress tightly gripped a fragment of the Space Dao principle in her small hand, her arrogant eyes staring blankly at him. Xiao Ye picked up the Jianmu wood from Zhengzhu's hand. Was this something cut from the world tree? A world tree grows on the black hole at the center of the Milky Way? The world tree is no ordinary tree. In legends, each leaf is a world, each leaf like a living star, containing 3,000 Dao principles, forming a vast multiverse. Its prestige and class are far superior to the fragment of the Space Dao principle. This small piece of Jianmu wood is probably worth about the same as the fragment of the Space Dao principle. Holding the Jianmu, a type of tree, he asked, "Empress, how do you use this?" "Future beauty. How does the destiny god use it to construct a perfect body based on the origin of rules?" The Space Ancestor Empress put away the fragments of spatial laws. "Leave the construction of the body to me. I'm very skilled at this kind of thing." If the 5 elements gods were here, they would definitely be internally criticizing the Ancestor Empress for being wasteful. Using the Jianmu of the world tree to construct a body is truly a waste of talent. With this, even if the origin of rules collapses, it can be revived by nurturing it with the Jianmu for tens of thousands of years. After speaking, the Space Ancestor Empress, dressed in a golden imperial robe, flew into the sky and said calmly, "Destiny God, can you hear me? Come out and meet me." PFFT. A profound and sacred will emerged from the origin of the rules of destiny. "Who are you?" The Space Ancestor Empress released a wisp of will energy, which entered the profound and sacred will. The profound and divine will suddenly realized, "You are the space goddess, my sister, the goddess of destiny? I remember you. You saved me, allowing me to successfully become the goddess of destiny. You gave me new life, a new existence. Thank you very much." The Space Ancestor Empress paused, her face turning awkward. "I'm sorry, I wasn't the one who saved you. It was the human emperor below, who possesses the aura of an emperor. You call me sister, so I am your sister. I also have a sister, the Time Empress, the goddess of time. She was the one who helped me condense my will, allowing it to quickly take shape. You can call the human emperor brother. He gave you your new life." "Human emperor brother?" The profound and divine will stared at Xiao Ye, who was looking up below, its mind inexplicably momentarily confused. "No, I can't call him brother," she suddenly said fiercely. The Space Ancestor Empress frowned. "Why? You know him? Do you remember the past?" The profound and divine will hesitated, staring intently at Xiao Ye below, and sighed inexplicably. Then, she withdrew her gaze, puzzled, and said, I don't know him, and I don't remember him. I don't know why, but I strongly don't want to acknowledge him as my brother, don't want to become his sister. It's as if becoming his sister would mean losing something. Strange, just looking at this person makes me feel so uncomfortable. Why is that? The space ancestor empress was taken aback. Not wanting to be a sister? Wanting to be what? Becoming the human emperor's wife? The will of the destiny god was extracted from the obsessive future Gu Qingcheng. Will is the essence left after refining impurities from a condensed soul. This will was probably influenced by the obsessive soul. Some things are etched deep into the soul, imprinted deep into the will, they don't disappear just because memories fade. The profound sacred will also fell silent, pondering its relationship with a human emperor and why it felt so uncomfortable. The primordial queen of space tossed a giant mu tree to her, saying, I just transmitted some basic information about this world to you. And a method for condensing your primordial body. Use the giant mu tree to construct a perfect shell, entrust your will to it, and also retain a portion of your will within the primordial source of destiny rules, about half and half. Of course, you can entrust all your will to the shell as well, it's up to you. The deity god seemed to trust the primordial queen greatly, saying, I'll listen to my sister. She controlled the primordial source of destiny rules and began to condense her body. Then, in the eyes of Xiao Ye and the others, in mid-air, the primordial source of destiny rules continuously released pure primordial source of rules, gathering on the giant mu tree. A naked, crystal clear, delicate body gradually condensed. A graceful body, curvaceous, with long, slender legs, a stunningly beautiful face, bright eyes and white teeth, and long, flowing black hair. Seeing Xiao Ye staring blankly, Ziran asked, Xiao Ye, is it beautiful? Beautiful. Xiao Ye replied subconsciously. Ziran pouted, saying sourly, am I prettier, or is the goddess of destiny prettier? Xiao Ye reacted, both are prettier. Ahem, don't misunderstand. I just find it strange. The goddess of destiny shouldn't have the memories of the future Qingcheng, so why is the body she condensed and sculpted exactly the same as Qingcheng's? I once trimmed Qingcheng's body, and the goddess of destiny's body was exactly the same. Every part of her body is exactly the same. He said with great surprise. Ziran looked up, huh, that face, it really is exactly the same. As for the details, I don't know. Okay, Xiao Ye, the goddess of destiny's body is so neat, you said you trimmed it for her? I've never enjoyed this treatment before. No way, I want one when we get back. Xiao Ye smiled, no problem. Does Binxi want one? Cheng Binxi blushed and rolled her eyes, I can do it myself, I don't need you to do it. Zhang Zunan said disappointedly. It's a pity I don't have a forest, otherwise I would also want my lord to trim it. At this moment, in the sky, the primordial queen of space was utterly astonished. She hadn't transmitted any information about Gu Qingcheng's appearance or physical characteristics to the deity of destiny. Yet, the body condensed by the deity of destiny was exactly the same as Gu Qingcheng's. She, the primordial queen, didn't know the physical details, but the face condensed by the deity of destiny was almost a carbon copy of Gu Qingcheng's. Deity of destiny, why did you condense a body like this? The primordial queen of space asked. The profound and sacred will replied, subconsciously, I condensed this body. Sister, is there anything wrong with this body? The primordial queen of space shook her head. Nothing. She was even more certain that this condensed will of the soul wouldn't forget everything just because of the loss of memories. Some things were integrated into instinct, permeating the entire will. Chapter 579. He was resurrected, but had nothing to say. She suddenly remembered the words of the starry sky beast Zhang Zunyu. So what if memories are lost? If the mistress can fall in love with a lord once, she can fall in love a second time, a third time. Memories can't determine everything. Some things are beyond the control of memories. The primordial empress of space suddenly agreed with this statement. Alice, she herself hadn't even become the human emperor's wife yet, and now a deity of destiny had appeared. The deity of destiny had already recognized her as her sworn sister. Was she going to compete with her sworn sister for a man? 3 deities competing for a man? The primordial empress's lips twitched. No, she wanted to become the human emperor's wife so that she could be with her sister, the deity of destiny, forever. It wasn't because she coveted the human emperor's body, nor was it because she desired anything from him. Why didn't she marry the human emperor together with the deity of destiny and the empress of time? The primordial empress's beautiful eyes lit up, and she gave herself a thumbs up, thinking this was a good idea. Now that she had a sworn sister, she could also be an older sister. No matter what happened to Gu Qingcheng in the future, this deity of destiny was newly born, a deity born under her full care. She felt a connection to the goddess of destiny akin to raising a child with loving care. Feeling a burning gaze fixed intently on the goddess of destiny's new, delicate body, the space ancestor empress's face darkened. Human emperor, can you please tone down your indecent gaze? What are you staring at? You've seen the goddess of destiny completely naked. She used to be your beast girl, and perhaps she will be in the future, well, but she doesn't recognize you now. You should respect the goddess of destiny. Ah. Xiao Ye scratched his head awkwardly, quickly averting his gaze. Sorry, I got a little mesmerized. Mesmerized? The space ancestor empress secretly scoffed. What was the human emperor thinking? Could it be something about reproduction? This was a deity, after all, subtly different from humans. Their bodies were formed from the essence of rules. The goddess of destiny's body was complete, her skin as smooth as ice and jade, crystal clear, her fur gleaming. Half of the goddess of destiny's will had been transferred to this body. She controlled her body, her stunningly beautiful face filled with joy. It's all right, sister. I don't know why, but I don't mind his gaze. I even feel a little happy inside. The deity of destiny spread her arms and spun a few times in midair, her long black hair dancing in the wind. Xiao Ye glanced at her and caught a glimpse of the deity of destiny spinning, and couldn't help but swallow hard. He took out a complete set of Gu Qingcheng's fitted white robe and underwear from his system space and threw them up. Future Qingcheng, oh no, deity of destiny, these are your clothes. See if they fit. The ancestor of space laughed. Deity of destiny, clothes can be condensed using the origin of rules, or you can wear what the human emperor gave you. Your choice. But who knew? The deity of destiny took the fitted robe and underwear that floated up, her expression strange. Looking at these clothes, I feel very happy. Why is that? I'll wear these clothes. After a while, she was dressed. A fitted white robe accentuated her stunning figure. Compared to Gu Qingcheng's domineering aura, she possessed an ethereal, otherworldly quality. Perhaps this was the divine aura bestowed by the very essence of destiny. It fits perfectly, and it looks beautiful. The space ancestor empress gently patted the destiny god's head. Destiny god, you'll follow me from now on. I will teach you how to cultivate, how to become familiar with the essence of destiny, and how to use your body to fight against it. I will also teach you how to reflect a blue star using your essence, and how to bathe in the life force of blue star's destiny attributes. Thank you, sister. The destiny god rubbed her head against the empress's hand, beaming with joy. The space ancestor empress asked, do you want to say something to the human emperor? Eh? The destiny god seemed lost in thought. The human emperor? I think I want to talk to him, but we don't know each other, and I don't know what to say. The thought of that handsome face below her filled her with inexplicable discomfort. Her reason told her not to think about that face. But her heart unconsciously kept recalling it. And recalling that face made her feel uneasy. It was a contradiction. She felt terrible thinking about that face, yet she couldn't control it. The space ancestor empress smiled, took the deity's small hand, and descended, landing steadily in front of Xiao Ye. Future Qingcheng, you've finally been resurrected. Mistress, I am Zhang Zunan. Qingcheng, I am Ziren. Seeing the future Gu Qingcheng standing alive before them, Cheng Bingxi, Zhang Zunan, and Ziren were overjoyed. Future Qingcheng? Who is that? I am the deity. Do I know you? The deity looked completely bewildered, not recognizing the three at all. Cheng Bingxi, Zhang Zunan, and Ziren's smiles froze. Xiao Ye, who had raised his hand to touch the deity's face, immediately stopped upon hearing this. Yes, this was no longer the future Gu Qingcheng. This is a brand new life, a deity of destiny. He felt a pang of loss and regret. From now on, he and the deity of destiny might be complete strangers, like strangers to each other. Each would have their own life, their own things to do. Suddenly, the deity of destiny's face turned cold, her brows furrowed as she looked at Xiao Ye, and said coldly, your face makes me very uncomfortable. Was it you who killed me that caused my death? Xiao Ye was stunned, shaking his head. I didn't kill you. You died saving me. Deity of destiny, do you hate me? He had never imagined that looking at this once intimately familiar face, he would now call her a stranger, a deity of destiny. The coldness on the deity of destiny's face softened slightly. Hate? Perhaps not. But seeing you makes me very uncomfortable. I don't know why, but I want to cry. She didn't say the last two words. Xiao Ye breathed a sigh of relief. It was good that she didn't hate him. According to the future Gu Qingchang's soul interpretation, he had once hated and loathed her, which was why the future Gu Qingchang had been left to guard an empty room for 100 years. If the deity of fate doesn't dislike him now, the two might still be able to be friends. If she did, perhaps they wouldn't even be able to be friends. Ziran said aggrievedly, it seems the deity of fate only has some instinct for Xiao Ye and has completely forgotten about us. We're best friends who can even share underwear. Zhang Zunan said excitedly, does the mistress still have feelings for the lord? That's a good thing. Maybe the mistress will fall in love with the lord again. Cheng Bingzai's expression was complicated. Seeing everyone's silence, the Space Ancestor Empress took the initiative to speak. Deity of fate, this is Cheng Bingzai, Zhang Zunan, and Ziran. This is the human emperor, his name is Xiao Ye. Your past memories have completely disappeared. The deity of fate was dazed for a moment. Disappeared? But why did her heart feel so sad and painful when her memories disappeared? Can you take me to the places I used to go? I'm very curious about what I experienced before. She asked with some bitterness. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 580 Unrequited Love? Take control of your fate. The deity of fate harbored a deep longing for her memories to return. But she didn't know why she wanted them. Reason told her she was simply curious about the unbearable pain within her and wanted to unravel the mystery. But emotion told her that if she didn't regain her memories, she would lose something forever. That loss was incredibly important to her, even more important than life itself. The place where the mistress once lived? Yes, my lord, let's take the mistress to see it. Zhang Zunan was extremely excited. If anyone present was most eager to see the deity of fate and the lord reunited, it was her. If the mistress could fall in love with a lord once, she could fall in love with him a second, a third, an infinite number of times. Memory couldn't control everything. She firmly believed this. Xiao Ye sensed the coldness of the deity of fate towards him. His expression stiffened as he forced a smile inside. If you want to go see, then we'll go with you. Even if your memories can't be restored, we can still be friends. The future Gu Qingcheng, in her obsessive state, had guarded his empty room for 100 years, and then used her great power to destroy Wu Yangdingshan, causing her own soul to collapse and vanish. He had to repay this kindness. Moreover, perhaps he still harbored a lingering hope that the deity of fate could restore her memories and be with him again. The coldness in the deity of fate's eyes remained, and she politely said, Human Emperor, thank you. Xiao Ye's expression stiffened again. His wife, with whom he had once shared a bed, was now thanking him, treating him with the politeness of a stranger. A strange pain shot through his heart. The ancestral empress's beautiful eyes gleamed. The place where the human emperor had once lived? She, the empress, had already made the human emperor lower his guard, and he probably even felt some goodwill towards her. But she needed more than that. She needed to gain the human emperor's trust. To make the human emperor fall in love with her and marry her. A blue portal appeared, and everyone arrived in the endless void. Cheng Bingxi went to cultivate in the time-space hall. Xiao Ye summoned the bronze hall and issued a command in his mind, instructing the bronze hall to release the original essence of the rules of destiny from the altar world. The vast, magnificent, and seemingly endless original essence of the rules of destiny returned to the blue star space, spanning the endless void, radiating dazzling light and bursting with boundless vitality. Countless forces of destiny power pierced through the void like chains, connecting to every aspect of Blue Star. Throughout the Blue Star world, the rules of destiny, which had almost dissipated, suddenly became abundant again. Everyone's destiny returned to normal. Billions of humans who had gone astray suddenly regained their senses, staring blankly at themselves. Before, some had undergone drastic personality changes, some had changed their orientations, Some had experienced altered circumstances, and so on. Now, they were all restored to their original state. Especially for humans and ferocious beasts with a destiny attribute, the destiny template suddenly became a burden, like an inanimate object, unable to sense the template. No matter how they tried to remedy it, they could not transform into ferocious beasts, could not use their innate skills, and their cultivation speed dropped to the extreme. But now, the destiny template and destiny attribute suddenly revived. Their cultivation speed not only recovered, but was several times faster than before. And the source of all this was in the endless void. Under the guidance of the ancestral queen, the deity god controlled the original body of the destiny rules, radiating glory and bathing all living beings on Blue Star. All living beings, including Xiao Ye, Cheng Bingxi, and Ziran. At the same time, the destinies of trillions of living beings on Blue Star appeared in her mind. Humans, ferocious beasts, magical plans, spiritual artifacts, supreme treasures, all the destinies were seen by her in an instant. Past, present, and future. She saw them all clearly and knew them like the back of her hand. She could feel pain herself, so she focused on the destinies or destinies that would cause pain to living beings. Scenes appeared in her mind. Disappointment, regret, love. All these were scenes of broken families, shattered happiness, betrayal, being stabbed in the back, unsatisfactory lives, abandonment, being targeted, being ambushed, being abused, unrequited love, and so on. The deity of fate glanced at them briefly, her eyes growing increasingly cold. Finally, she withdrew her gaze, her entire being radiating icy coldness. Reason told her that her own inner pain might be similar. Betrayal, or unrequited love? Xiao Ye watched quietly from the side, feeling the deity of fate's coldness growing stronger, completely unaware of her thoughts. But he could sense that the deity of fate's coldness was directed at him. This coldness made him very uncomfortable, his brows furrowing. The deity of fate withdrew her will from the source of the rules of fate and transferred it to her body. Her cold, beautiful face reflected her inner turmoil. Suddenly, she saw that Xiao Ye and Ziran were also connected to the chains of the rules of fate. These chains could reveal a lifetime's destiny. The deity of fate, with eyes that could see through the chains of fate, sought to examine the destinies of Xiao Ye and Ziran, as if investigating the fates of all beings. She hoped to unravel the painful questions and curiosities that gnawed at her heart. But when she looked, she saw only two thick clouds of mist, obscuring her divine abilities as the deity of fate. Why was this? The human emperor and Ziran were also human beings from Blue Star. Why couldn't she see, change, or control their destinies? As the deity of fate, she could see the destinies of all beings, change them, and control them. She could make them live, and she could make them die. She could make them experience extraordinary encounters or misfortunes, experience a surge or a drastic drop in cultivation, all in the blink of an eye, with a single thought. But the destinies of the human emperor and Ziran were not controlled by the fundamental rules of fate. Their destinies even transcended the fundamental rules of fate, their status surpassing even the fundamental rules of fate themselves. As the deity of destiny, who controlled fate itself, she couldn't even perceive the slightest bit of these two people's destinies, let alone change or control them. She suddenly looked at her own destiny and was astonished to find that it, too, was shrouded in mystery. She couldn't even control her own destiny? What kind of deity of destiny was she? At that moment, she suddenly understood. Deities weren't omnipotent. There were some things even gods were powerless to change. Withdrawing her gaze, the deity of destiny rubbed her temples in frustration. The human emperor said she died to save him. Was her inner turmoil due to unrequited love? But what was love? In the destinies of beings on earth, love was blushing and heart-pounding, it was being together forever, it was growing old together. The deity of destiny shook her head. She could see the destinies of others, but right now, she didn't understand what love was. The primordial queen waved her hand, and a spatial portal appeared before them. She smiled and said, "Blue Star is back on track. Deity of destiny, if you wish to see the place you once lived, come with us. Hangzhou base city is where you lived for a long time." The deity of destiny glanced coldly at Xiao Ye and stepped into the portal. Xiao Ye sighed, his face filled with complex emotions, and pulled Ziran and Zhang Zunan inside. The primordial queen noticed this scene, lost in thought. Chapter 581 Revisiting Old Things, the God of Fate wept. The bustling streets of Hangzhou base city. The ancestral empress, the deity of destiny, Ziran, Zhang Zunan, and Xiao Ye walked along the street. The street was teeming with people and traffic, a vibrant and lively scene. The red couplets that had been hung for the Empress's wedding were still there. The Empress is back from her honeymoon. Wow, is this the Empress's husband? What a handsome young man. What young man? No respect for elders. That's the Emperor. Greetings, Emperor. May you have a long and happy marriage. May the Empress be healthy and have many children and grandchildren. The residents of Hangzhou made way, excitedly waving their hands and feet, constantly offering blessings. Listening to the blessings from the surrounding residents, Xiao Ye felt a bitter taste in his mouth. The Emperor? He was indeed the Emperor of Hangzhou-based city. But at this moment, the deity of destiny had no connection whatsoever with Hangzhou-based city. Nor with him. Gu Qingcheng's soul had been sent to the future. He wondered if her condition had improved. He and Gu Qingcheng were indeed husband and wife. But he and the god of destiny might not even be able to be friends anymore. Perhaps out of guilt for the future Gu Qingcheng in her obsessive form, he didn't want to become strangers with the god of destiny, never to cross paths again. The future Gu Qingcheng in her obsessive form couldn't have died in vain. She was resurrected now, but not truly resurrected. The god of destiny was not the same as the future Gu Qingcheng in her obsessive form. Only after the god of destiny fully regained her memories would the future Gu Qingcheng in her obsessive form be fully resurrected. Zhang Zunyan bought several boxes of stinky tofu with crystal cores and happily handed them to everyone. But the god of destiny didn't take them. Instead, the space ancestor Empress gladly accepted them and began to chew them heartily. The smell was like excrement. But the texture was surprisingly soft, sticky, and delicious. The god of destiny looked at the excited residents around her and subconsciously began to examine their fates. She became stunned. In the scenes of these residents' fates, she saw someone exactly like herself. Gu Qingcheng, the Empress of Hangzhou. Gu Qingcheng was invincible, exuding domineering power. Time and again, she protected Hangzhou, repelling beast tides and returning in triumph. Under her rule, Hangzhou flourished and prospered. A few days ago was the wedding day of Gu Qingcheng and Xiao Ye. Many saw the genuine smile on Gu Qingcheng's face, her eyes filled with happiness. She married Emperor Xiao Ye, along with a stunningly beautiful woman named Yangxi. The whole city celebrated, cheering wildly. It seemed like a legendary tale. Afterwards, Gu Qingcheng and Emperor Xiao Ye went on their honeymoon, disappearing from Hangzhou for several days. The deity was in a daze. Gu Qingcheng, is that me? Looking at Emperor Xiao Ye, who was eating heartily with savory food, he was my husband, the Emperor of Hangzhou. At this moment, the deity understood. She imagined a scene. The Emperor faced a crisis, she turned the tide, faced the danger head-on, and died to save the Emperor. The once invincible Gu Qingcheng suffered her first defeat, and at a terrible price. Not only did she die, but she was also forever separated from the human Emperor. Love unrequited, love unrequited. The goddess of fate murmured, the chill in her body vanishing in an instant. Perhaps the human Emperor hadn't actually harmed her, her inner turmoil stemmed from not being able to be with him. Thinking this, the goddess of fate suddenly shuddered. Her inner pain had actually lessened slightly. She was even more perplexed. If love brought pain, why pursue it in the first place? Fate, what are you thinking about? So engrossed. Here, have some stinky tofu. The primordial Empress of Space used a toothpick to stuff a piece of stinky tofu into the goddess of fate's rosy mouth. Ugh! The goddess of fate snapped out of her reverie, her brows furrowing at the pungent smell of the stinky tofu. It stinks. This is human food. How can anyone eat it? The space ancestor Empress swallowed a mouthful of stinky tofu from the box, chewing with obvious pleasure. Don't let the smell fool you, it tastes delicious. These beings may be of lowly cultivation, but they live quite well. They've invented many foods and items to satisfy human desires, offering solace in this cruel era. Is that so? The goddess of destiny curiously took a few bites. Feeling the pleasant texture and softness in her mouth, her beautiful eyes lit up. It tastes good, she commented softly. Ha ha ha. Everyone, come buy my stinky tofu. Even the Empress says it's delicious. The roadside stall owner shouted excitedly. People swarmed around, quickly buying up all the stinky tofu on the stall. After a while, a murmur arose. Damn, it smells awful, but tastes delicious. It's just like my wife. She seems grumpy and bosses me around all day. I'm often impatient, but sometimes I enjoy it, it feels so warm and cozy. Now that you mention it, it's true. My 300-pound wife looks ugly, but she's very caring and gentle. I'm going home to find her. This is so delicious, I'm going to give it to her. I almost ate it all. Thanks for reminding me, brother. I'll save this last bite for my wife. The stall owner was stunned. Selling stinky tofu could increase the happiness of so many families? Listening to the surrounding residents' comments, the destiny goddess, who was chewing on the stinky tofu, was momentarily lost in thought. It smells awful, but tastes delicious. She felt pain when she looked at the human emperor. Did this mean that deep down, she still wanted to reunite with a human emperor and enjoy the sweetness and happiness of love? Coming back to her senses, her brows furrowed. These were all her rational thoughts and guesses, she didn't know the truth. Her heart wasn't entirely under her control. Suddenly, the deity of fate spoke softly, "Human emperor, can I take a bite out of you?" Xiao Ye, who was enjoying his stinky tofu, turned around with a strange expression. "You want to take a bite out of me? I don't have any tofu, only women have tofu," he said, looking at his broad chest. Ziran rolled her eyes, snatched the stinky tofu box from Xiao Ye's hand, and placed it in the deity of fate's jade-like hand with a grin. "Deity of fate, please eat as much as you like. Ask Xiao Ye for more if you're not full." "Thank you," the deity of fate said politely. She picked up a piece of stinky tofu and chewed it. The pain in her heart lessened a little. The deity of fate's beautiful eyes lit up, and she said, "Delicious." She guessed that perhaps, deep down, she really hoped that she and Xiao Ye would get back together. After strolling through the streets, the group arrived at the Empress's palace. "Deity of Destiny, this is where King Cheng and Xiao Ye used to live," Ziran introduced. "The bridal chamber is on the top floor." The deity of Destiny looked around, a sudden smile playing on her lips. Her inner pain lessened considerably, replaced by a fleeting joy. Her emotions were beyond her control. She was bewildered, she had never been here before. Was it because of Gu King Cheng? The group arrived at the top floor of the Empress's palace. Ziran smiled, "This is the bridal chamber. The decorations are still very festive, everything is exactly the same as before, without the slightest change." Xiao Ye looked at everything from the past, a bitter smile on his lips. Things had changed, everything was still there, even unchanged, but the people were different. The deity of destiny looked around curiously. A feeling of joy, warmth, and comfort suddenly welled up within her. She walked through every corner of the bridal chamber, touching everything. Even she didn't notice that two clear tears streamed down her stunningly beautiful face. Chapter 582 Gu King Cheng's exclusive souvenir. Fate had never been here, yet it instinctively knew the location of every corner of the bridal chamber and the function of every arrangement perfectly. Tears streamed down her beautiful face, dripping onto the floor, onto every corner and every fixture in the bridal chamber. Especially when she reached the bed, tears welled up and flowed 5 times more profusely. Yet, a joyful smile spread across her face. This was an instinctive smile from the bottom of her heart, one she herself didn't even realize, beyond the control of reason. Looking at the 2 pillows on the bedside table, and between them a delicate little box, inscribed with the words Gu King Cheng, Fate grasped it, opened the box, revealing a piece of cloth inside. This heart-shaped cloth seemed to have been carefully cut, adorned with a vibrant red plum blossom. She lifted the blanket. Near the bottom, there was a heart-shaped hole. This heart-shaped cloth with a red plum blossom had been cut from the blanket. Looking at this cloth, Fate felt a bittersweet, happy feeling welling up inside her. The corners of her mouth curled up even more uncontrollably. The Space Ancestor Empress, Ziran, Zhang Zunan, and Xiao Ye drew closer. Zhang Zunan, with her keen sense of smell, sniffed the heart-shaped red plum blossom from afar, her expression strange. "This smells like blood. It's the smell of human blood." Ziran's face darkened. "Xiao Ye, what kind of twisted sense of humor is this? You even cut that out, are you going to keep it?" Except for Xiao Ye, everyone else's expressions were strange, they all knew what the red plum blossom was. Xiao Ye smiled, showing no embarrassment whatsoever, and said confidently, "This is a keepsake of King Cheng and me. It represents the fruit of our love. Why can't I keep it?" I forgot, I didn't even put it away, I just left it on the bedside table." Ziran leaned closer, pouting jealously, and said expectantly, "Xiao Ye, I left after giving myself to you, And when I came back I didn't notice the blankets, I threw them all away. Did you cut up our keepsakes? Xiao Ye nodded, whispering, yes, I did. Ziran smiled, a warm smile, and said with great satisfaction, that's good. This is the fruit of our love. King Cheng has it, so I must have it too. Representing being together, the fruit of love? Fate suddenly closed the box. This box brought her endless joy, completely offsetting the nameless pain in her heart. This was the fruit of her love with Xiao Ye, a treasure that brought her joy. She said softly, Human Emperor, I really like this box. Can you give it to me? I can pay you. Huh? Xiao Ye was stunned, incredulous. Deity of Destiny, what do you want this for? Don't you find this disgusting or repulsive? The Deity of Destiny turned to face Xiao Ye. The smile on her face and the clear tears on her beautiful cheeks were all seen by everyone. Deity of Destiny, you're crying? Mistress, your expression is so strange. You're clearly crying, yet you're also smiling. Ah, didn't you lose your memory? How can you cry? Everyone stared in disbelief, their eyes wide. The Deity of Destiny ignored them, asking again earnestly, I don't find it disgusting or repulsive. I really like this box. Human Emperor, can you give it to me? Even if I owe you a favor. Xiao Ye frowned, unsure how to answer. The contents of this box were the fruit of his and Gu Qingcheng's love, and had little to do with the future Gu Qingcheng of his obsession. But the favor in the deity's eyes was impossible to hide. He still felt a deep sense of guilt towards the future Gu Qingcheng, the embodiment of his obsession, yet he didn't want to refuse the deity. Ziran said with a grin, Xiao Ye, just give it to me then. I have a method for restoring that kind of body. After King Cheng returns from the future, I can restore her body. This one's gone. You can just tailor another one later. Xiao Ye's lips twitched, his mind reeling. When did Ziran learn that kind of restorative method? How come he didn't know? Like the reconstructive surgery in a certain hospital in his previous life? Ahem. Alright then, since you've asked, deity, I'll give it to you. As for payment, it's unnecessary. I owe your predecessor quite a lot, consider this compensation. Xiao Ye sighed. Owes my predecessor quite a lot? The deity became increasingly certain that her predecessor had loved but couldn't have him, and had sacrificed a lot for the human emperor, which was why the human emperor felt guilty. She parted her lips and whispered, no, the former self is the former self, and I am me. I will pay the price that is due. Unless I regain the memories of the former self. Having said that, she carefully cradled the box in her hands as if it were a priceless treasure. Looking at the exquisite little box, the joy in the deity's eyes overflowed uncontrollably. This was an unconscious, instinctive joy, beyond the control of her thoughts and reason. With this, her heart would no longer be in pain. Pain was truly unbearable. But now, holding the exquisite little box, she felt extremely comfortable, even a little happy. The Space Ancestor Empress keenly grasped a few words, her bright eyes shining, and said, Deity of Destiny, do you want to regain your past life's memories? The Deity of Destiny's slender fingers delicately stroked the exquisite little box, nodding in response, yes, my inner emotions seem to be beyond the control of my thoughts and reason. This uncontrollable emotion makes me somewhat irritable. If even my own body is beyond my control, wouldn't I, the Deity of Destiny, become a joke? Perhaps after regaining my memories, I will be able to control my inner emotions. That was indeed what she thought. Reason followed emotion. Zhang Zunan excitedly said, great. Mistress, I will find a way to help you regain your memories. Mistress, you must be with a lord. You were originally husband and wife. Husband and wife? The Deity of Destiny looked at Xiao Ye's angular face, her willow brows furrowing slightly. With her current rationality and memories, she could not accept having intimate contact with a man. Even if she had special feelings for Xiao Ye, her rationality would not allow her to have physical contact with him. We'll see, she said softly. Xiao Ye recalled the words of the future Gu Qingcheng, the embodiment of obsession, before her memories faded after the extraction of her will. Husband, kill me, I can't forget you, it's more painful than death. The future Gu Qingcheng, the embodiment of obsession, valued her memories more than her own life. But in the end, her memories still faded. He owed the future Gu Qingcheng, the embodiment of obsession, too much? We will find a way to restore your memories, Xiao Ye said solemnly. The god of destiny nodded slightly. Suddenly, time factors gathered beside them, and a stunningly beautiful woman standing in a mysterious mist appeared. Her clear, cold voice rang out. Ancestor Empress, Human Emperor, if you wish to restore the God of Destiny's memories, I have a way. Chapter 583 The Method to Restore the Memories of the God of Destiny. The deity of fate let out a soft "A." Is this the deity of time? The primordial Empress of Space smiled. This is my sister, the Empress of Time. Of course, she's also your sister. Deity of fate, call her sister. The deity of fate said sweetly, sister. The Empress of Time smiled slightly. Call me whatever you like. Do you really want to regain your memories? The deity of fate nodded, yes. After coming to Hangzhou, I saw some things that triggered an instinctive feeling within me, emotions beyond my control. But I don't recall a single memory of living here. I want to control myself, so I must regain my memories. The Empress of Time, Human Emperor, what about you? Do you want her to regain her memories? She hasn't recalled any memories? Xiao Ye's lips curled into a bitter smile. Of course I want to, but I don't know where to start. The Time Empress's lips curled into a smile. I have a way to help a God of Destiny regain her memories. The revival of the God of Destiny is equivalent to the reincarnation of the future Gu Qingchang in her obsessive form, but it's not entirely a reincarnation. Will is the condensation of the soul, the essence of the soul, but it's not entirely the same as the soul. To allow the God of Destiny to regain her memories before reincarnation, that is, the memories of the future Gu Qingchang in her obsessive form, we must use the reincarnation God's great supernatural power of reincarnation. Hearing this, Xiao Ye, Ziran, and Zhang Zunyu were overjoyed. The primordial queen of space questioned, Sister, the reincarnation God's divine powers can indeed restore past life memories. But a God's memories are not as simple as those of humans or ferocious beasts. The reincarnation of ordinary beings on Blue Star is controlled by the reincarnation God, who can arbitrarily alter, modify, and restore their memories. But the Destiny God, the moment she became a god, she was the very essence of Blue Star's destiny rules. Her reincarnation, the reincarnation of the essence of destiny rules, is not under the control of the reincarnation God. The reincarnation God's reincarnation powers are completely ineffective against the Destiny God. More accurately, they are completely ineffective against the essence of destiny rules. The Destiny God's eyes darkened. Gods are not omnipotent, just as she could not see the fates of the Human Emperor and Ziran. Moreover, she could not see the fate of the primordial Queen of Space either. The smiles on Ziran and Zhang Zunu's faces froze. That's right, now the Destiny God is equivalent to the essence of destiny rules. How could one rule be controlled by another? Xiao Ye frowned and said, Empress of Time, you wouldn't be acting without a plan. Since you've spoken, you should be confident enough to restore the memories of the reincarnated God of Destiny. The Empress of Time's bright eyes shone even brighter, and she snapped her fingers. That's right. The reincarnated God, of course, cannot restore the memories of the God of Destiny now. One rule certainly cannot affect another rule of the same level. But what if the reincarnated God transcends the rules of destiny? Then it can influence rules of lower rank, and restore the memories of the God of Destiny before its resurrection. The primordial Empress of Space widened her eyes. Sister, do you mean to make the reincarnated God break through to the star domain realm, with the essence of the reincarnated rule transcending other rules? How is that possible? I've tried for hundreds of thousands of years, and my realm has remained stuck at the perfect third stage of the Emperor realm, unable to advance even an inch. If I can't do it, how could that little rascal, the reincarnated God, possibly advance to the star domain realm? Above the Emperor realm is the star domain realm. The rank of the essence of a rule is measured by its realm. The Time Empress blinked. I'm just at the star domain realm. Even the original body of the Time rule can advance to the star domain realm, so why can't the original body of reincarnation? The primordial Empress's lips twitched. You've lived for millions of years, and for nearly 500,000 years you ventured into the depths of the universe. You probably obtained some extraordinary treasure that allowed the original body of the Time rule to advance. Xiao Ye hurriedly said, it's good that you have a way. Do you know the reincarnation goddess? Where is she now? The Time Empress curled her lips. Human Emperor, because of you, the reincarnation goddess's body has been captured by the gods of the Five Elements faction. They want to use this to blackmail you into handing over the original body of the Destiny rule. If you want to see the Destiny goddess, you must rescue the reincarnation goddess from the hands of the gods of the Five Elements faction. Her status had long surpassed all the original rules on Blue Star. She could see the timeline of any original rule's will, and could know the past and future of any god in the blink of an eye. But controlling the timeline was blocked by the human emperor. He had no right to view or change it. But her goal remained singular, to bind herself to the human emperor, to grow alongside him, and to surely reach the pinnacle. Only she knew how incredibly difficult it was for planetary deities to forge their own paths and ascend to the highest realm, more difficult than for any other living being. That's why she had appeared. She could help the human emperor restrain those deities, even obliterate their wills. A star domain realm expert could obliterate the will of an emperor realm deity, though it was tedious and troublesome. But if she could help the human emperor this time, gaining his trust would be effortless. However, Xiao Ye, upon hearing this, flew into a rage, saying, "The 5 elements gods? Hell, I haven't even gone to find them yet, and they're already plotting against me. In that case, let these gods perish, they need not live any longer." The ancestral empress also wore a grim expression. For hundreds of thousands of years, she had been unable to find her sister, the Time Empress, and had a few close friends. The Reincarnation God and the Destruction God were her 2 closest confidants. Last time, while soaking in the void spring in the endless void, the other 2 gods were the god of reincarnation and the god of destruction. But now, the gods of the 5 elements faction have actually kidnapped their friend? Even when beating a dog, one must consider its owner, let alone the god of reincarnation, who is a close friend. HMPH. 5 elements gods, it seems you haven't learned your lesson after I shattered your bodies last time, daring to kidnap my friend again. This time, I will give you an even crueler punishment. Human Emperor, let's go together. I'll restrain those gods, and you erase their will. Xiao Ye nodded, clasped his hands, and said, "Thank you for the reminder, Senior Time Empress. Those gods, the Empress and I will erase them." With a will adjuster in hand, plus the Space Ancestor Empress, all the gods of the 5 elements faction are doomed. The Time Empress's lips twitched. Human Emperor, actually, I wanted to say that I can help. I can erase their will. Xiao Ye waved his hand. "Thank you for your kindness, Senior Time Empress, I appreciate it. However, this matter can be handled by me and the Empress." "What?" The Time Empress was taken aback. She wanted to help, but was actually refused. "The human emperor has a way to erase the will of those gods?" Sigh, "Alright, just call out if you want me to help, and I will appear." The Time Empress felt annoyed and left sullenly. The god of destiny then spoke up, "This concerns my memories, I will go too. As a god at the 3rd stage of the Emperor realm, I also have sufficient combat power." Xiao Ye looked at her and suddenly smiled, "Alright." He turned around and sent Ziran and Jiangzu Nan into the Hall of Time and Space. The war between gods was beyond the reach of Ziran and Jiangzu Nan's level. Let them cultivate in the Hall of Time and Space and strive to improve their realm. Chapter 584 He was kissed by the first Empress. "Let's go rescue the reincarnation god now," Xiao Ye said earnestly. Regardless of how he advanced in the star domain realm, rescuing the reincarnation god was the priority. Without the reincarnation god, everything else was just wishful thinking. The ancestral Empress nodded, instantly manipulating special rules to sense the location of the 5 elements gods. But then, her confident face darkened with an unpleasant expression. "The 5 elements gods? I can't find their location. They might have gone to an outer star system, or a chaotic, ruleless space." Xiao Ye scoffed, mocking, "These gods have some brains, they know the reincarnation god is your friend, and they're avoiding you. They're probably afraid you'll come looking for trouble and crush their painstakingly formed bodies into QR codes." The ancestral Empress said weakly, "Their fundamental rules are still on Blue Star, they'll definitely return. Should we wait a while?" She felt extremely awkward. They had promised to rescue people, to help the human emperor. One by one, she was powerless to help, unable to intervene. Xiao Ye refused, chuckling, "It's alright, I have a way to find them, no matter where they are, whether in the unregulated zone of Blue Star or in some corner of the universe. I can find them." An ancient object resembling a compass appeared in his hand. A treasure-seeking pointer. This was a supreme treasure of emperor-level quality, perfected at the 3rd stage of the Emperor realm, more than enough to find the 5 elements gods. He issued a command in his mind, "Search for the origin will of the 5 elements rules." Buzz! The treasure-seeking pointer trembled, its pointer spinning rapidly. An ancient and weathered aura emanated from it. A blue chain pierced through the treasure-seeking pointer, penetrating into the void. The ancestral empress was astonished, her proud eyes filled with surprise. Even she couldn't find them, yet the human emperor had a way to find them? Xiao Ye suddenly smiled. Found them. Based on the feedback from the treasure-seeking pointer, a three-dimensional map of spatial coordinates appeared in his mind. The map showed one blue dot and three red dots. The blue dot represented Xiao Ye's location, while the three red dots represented the locations of the 5 elements gods. However, 3 red dots, 3 5 elements gods? No, 3 wills, all belonging to the same god. One of them was definitely the original body of the 5 elements rules, while the other 2 were likely bodies condensed from the 5 elements gods, each containing the will of the 5 elements god. There are 2 locations where the 5 elements gods are located. The first is Blue Star 3190, and the second is 22. He laughed. The ancestral empress gave the human emperor a deep look and gritted her teeth, saying, the 5 elements gods really know how to play. They even have 2 condensed bodies, one in a ruleless space in Kunlun Mountain of the Blue Star Dragon Kingdom, and the other in the vast star of the White Horse Star System. HMPH, now that we know the coordinates, let's go save the reincarnation god. Ziran left, and the frown on the destiny god's brow suddenly relaxed. Just now, she saw Ziran and the human emperor huddled together, talking intimately. A lump formed in her throat, making her feel uneasy. She couldn't understand why. Seeing the deity of destiny lost in thought, the primordial empress waved her translucent jade hand in front of her. Her expression strange. Deity of destiny, let's go, we're going to save the god of reincarnation. What are you thinking about, so engrossed? You're a god now, and you're still daydreaming? Huh? The deity of destiny snapped out of her reverie and hurriedly replied, okay. She had to understand why she felt uncomfortable with the human emperor and Ziran's close contact. The primordial empress of space waved her hand, and the 2 deities vanished. Kunlun Mountain in the Dragon Kingdom, an ancient mountain range steeped in mythology. It is the ancestor of all mountains in the Dragon Kingdom, also known as Kunlun Void. The 2 deities appeared above the Kunlun Mountains. Looking down, they saw only a misty expanse, with towering, majestic mountains faintly visible. There's another peak quasi-emperor here, almost at the emperor level. Human head and leopard body, and 2 mid-quasi-emperor level bluebirds serving him. The space ancestor empress exclaimed in surprise. Human head and leopard body? The Queen Mother of the West? Xiao Ye shook his head. Where would the Queen Mother of the West come from on Blue Star? It's not like Earth in his previous life. We should hurry up and find that coordinate, drag out the reincarnation god, and then obliterate the will of those gods. The ancestor empress turned to look at the god of destiny, and seeing her lost in thought again, asked worriedly, God of destiny, are you alright? I've been lost in thought ever since the wedding night. Did you remember something? Xiao Ye was a little expectant. The god of destiny was stunned. No, I don't remember anything. Xiao Ye was a little disappointed. The deity of destiny suddenly spoke, Sister, can you do me a favor? The primordial empress smiled, since you're calling me sister, I'll do as many favors as you want. What is it? The deity of destiny bit her lower lip, then said something astonishing, Sister, can you kiss the human emperor? The primordial empress? Xiao Ye? Both of them stared wide-eyed. The primordial empress's lips twitched, what? The deity of destiny's expression became serious, Sister, please kiss the human emperor. I want to confirm some things. Please. The primordial empress's bright eyes suddenly lit up. Her ultimate goal in approaching the human emperor was to become his wife. If she could directly win him over and bewitch him, given his loyal and righteous nature, he would surely take responsibility. At that time, she would belong to the human emperor. Why would she need to slowly gain his trust like this? The primordial queen feigned reluctance, her heart seemingly in turmoil, before finally speaking with difficulty, as the elder sister, I must grant the request of the goddess of destiny. Human emperor, please sacrifice yourself. Xiao Ye scratched his head, confused by the primordial queen. But the thought of being kissed by the primordial queen in front of a face and gaze identical to Gu Qingcheng was incredibly stimulating. I owe the goddess of destiny a great debt. Since she has asked, I will reluctantly agree. Primordial queen, come on. Xiao Ye closed his eyes tightly, raising his face with a resolute air, appearing fearless in the face of death. The primordial queen's heart leaped with joy, her pretty face suddenly flushing slightly. She pouted her cherry red lips and pressed them against his. A big kiss. She gave his handsome cheek a firm slap. Xiao Ye felt something cool and soft brush against his cheek. A fleeting sensation. The goddess of destiny stared wide-eyed. The moment she saw the first empress kiss him, her heart felt a lump in her throat, a deep, unbearable pain. Ugh! The goddess of fate clutched her heart in agony, her hand clenching until it was distorted. Why? Why was this happening? Even holding the exquisite little box in her hands, looking at the emperor's sharply defined face, she felt no pain. But why did seeing the emperor intimately connected with another woman cause her such a tightness in her chest? This feeling made the goddess of fate extremely uncomfortable, completely beyond the control of reason. For a god to be unable to control her own emotions, it sounded like a joke. Chapter 585 The Fate God's Physical Defect. The ancestral queen's gaze darted around, a strange feeling rising within her, her heart pounding. Her heart pounded, her face flushed, and her heart raced. She was experiencing this feeling for the first time. Stealing a glance at the human emperor, she saw him staring straight at her, a faint smile playing on his lips, his expression utterly calm. Ugh! The ancestral queen's eyes darted away, quickly averting her gaze. She saw the goddess of destiny clutching Orin, her face contorted in pain. The ancestral queen panicked. Goddess of destiny, what's wrong? Are you alright? Xiao Ye was also anxious. Is it chest pain, or is there something wrong with your body? Should I rub it for you? The goddess of destiny felt a tightness in her chest, a suffocating pressure that wouldn't subside. Her delicate hands clenched tightly, as if she wanted to crush her heart. I'm fine, she stammered, her face pale. Xiao Ye frowned deeply. The goddess of destiny, after all, was the reincarnation of the future Gu Qingcheng, a being of obsessive attachment. His guilt towards the future Gu Qingcheng, the embodiment of obsession, was transferred to the deity of destiny. Ancestor Queen, please examine the deity of destiny's body to see if there are any defects. Thank you. The ancestor queen immediately reached out and grasped the deity of destiny's other crystal-clear jade hand, her divine sense penetrating it. The deity of destiny trusted the ancestor queen and did not stop her. After examining the body, the ancestor queen's anxious expression softened, and she said softly, "The deity of destiny's body has no abnormalities. But her emotional fluctuations are extremely intense. This doesn't seem like something a deity should do. It's more like a human. Intense emotional fluctuations causing discomfort?" Xiao Ye couldn't understand. He simply stopped thinking about it. Activate the template adjuster to view the following. Emperor Realm Destiny Rule Origin Condensation Realm, Early Stage of Emperor Realm Third Stage Body Defect, bound by the Blue Star level, reaching the limit after achieving the Emperor Realm Perfection, making further advancement difficult. Temporary solution, utilize a massage secret technique to perform a full body massage, reducing the limitations imposed on the body by the Destiny Rule Origin. Cosmic Level Massage Secret Technique available. Permanent Solution 1, make the Rule Origin a vassal, using the body as a foundation, breaking free from the Blue Star's constraints, and walking the path of cosmic beings. Teaching a massage secret technique using the body as a seed available. Permanent Solution 2, use fragments of the cosmic destiny law to advance the Destiny Rule Origin, allowing the body to advance accordingly. Method for extracting fragments of the Grade Dao Destiny Law available. Will defect, willpower instincts do not change due to reincarnation. When encountering events that trigger willpower instincts, different emotions arise within, including pain, jealousy, heartache, stinging, frustration, happiness, sweetness, joy, etc. Temporary solution, make close contact with it, or use a massage technique to soothe its will and instincts, transforming the negative emotions of its will and instincts into positive emotions. Massage technique available. Permanent solution, use the great divine power of reincarnation to restore its memories, releasing its suppressed will and instincts. Xiao Ye's eyes lit up, and the anxiety on his face subsided. The template adjuster was a supreme treasure at the level of the origin of the universe's great Dao. He had previously used it to solve human physical defects and template defects. He never expected that it could also view and solve the physical and will defects of gods. This gave him a pleasant surprise and also resolved his doubts. Xiao Ye was also puzzled as to why the god of destiny shed tears after seeing the things in the bridal chamber and said that she really liked the exquisite little box that Gu Qingcheng had exclusively given her. It turned out that this was the will and instincts acting up. Will is the condensation of the soul. The will of the god of destiny was also the will of the future Gu Qingchen, the obsession body. It was the same will. After reincarnating as a god, the god of destiny was still the future Gu Qingchen, the obsession body, only without the memories. If he regained his memories, the deity of fate would be the future Gu Qingchen, the embodiment of obsession. He carefully examined the results of the template adjuster's investigation. His lips twitched. Massage technique? To solve physical defects, massage is needed. To solve willpower defects, massage is also needed. Is Xiao Ye forever addicted to massages, always having to massage stunningly beautiful women? Massages are tiring, you know. He's a decent person, not the kind of lewd man who likes to massage the entire body of stunningly beautiful women. Ahem. Your Majesty, don't worry, I have a solution. Xiao Ye's face flushed red. The ancestral empress's pupils shrank. What, you have another solution? Even she was helpless, yet the human emperor could solve it. This made her feel very embarrassed. She was clearly the ancestral empress, a god at the third stage of the emperor realm, yet she was inferior to the human emperor, whose realm was still the supreme realm, in every way. What she couldn't do, the human emperor could do. What she was helpless about, the human emperor easily solved. This made her question her life. Both of them possessed the destiny of an emperor, so why was she so much worse than the human emperor? The first empress shook her head. Now was not the time to ponder these things. The most urgent task was to soothe the deity of fate's emotions and help her alleviate her pain. Human emperor, thank you. She stepped aside, pushing the deity of fate, who was clutching her chest and looking pained, in front of Xiao Ye. Deity of fate, take your hand away. I'll help you relieve your pain. Xiao Ye smiled warmly, his eyes full of tenderness. This deity of fate was actually the future Gu Qingchen, the embodiment of obsession, only now she had lost her memories. The deity of fate looked at him with a pained expression, but after feeling the warmth in Xiao Ye's words, her throbbing heart actually felt a little better. The pain lessened slightly. Alright, human emperor, you can do it. The deity of fate reluctantly lowered her jade hand that was clutching her heart. If the pain continued like this, she was prepared to crush her heart, and also the towering burden in front of her. Xiao Ye, his face serious, his rough, large hand quietly grasping the deity of fate's delicate, translucent hand. Temporary solution, close contact, or use a massage technique to transform the negative emotions of instinctive reaction into positive emotions. Just a handshake? The ancestral empress's expression was strange. It seemed the human emperor was taking advantage of the deity of fate. The deity of fate's pained expression turned cold. This guy, does he really have a solution? Could he be deliberately taking advantage? Doesn't he know the difference between men and women? Just as the deity of fate was about to withdraw her hand, she froze. She actually felt that the tightness in her heart, which she couldn't control rationally, had decreased by a third. This greatly reduced her pain. At the same time, she felt a strong urge to have this man massage her heart. The deity of fate thought for a moment, then immediately placed the human emperor's hand in front of her heart, her expression somewhat unnatural, and said, "Human emperor, please massage it for me, thank you." This man was the human emperor, the man she loved but could not have in her past life. Besides, she had already consummated her marriage with the emperor in her previous life, so it shouldn't be too much for her to have some contact with him now. Chapter 586 Solving the Deity's Physical Defects. Upon seeing Xiao Ye's actions, the ancestral queen's eyes widened in astonishment, her cherry red, mature lips gaping open. Her stunningly beautiful face was filled with shock. Ah, the deity of destiny, actually, the emperor is treating her like this? Isn't this going too far? The ancestral queen glanced at the deity of destiny's face, seeing that there was no pain at all, and the corners of her mouth were even slightly upturned. The ancestral queen was dumbfounded. She hadn't seen any healing talent skills or traces of supernatural powers on the emperor. Without a doubt, he was simply massaging the deity of destiny. But why did the deity of destiny seem so comfortable? Was being massaged comfortable? The ancestral queen tried to imitate Xiao Ye's actions, massaging her own face. But she was disappointed, she felt nothing. Could it be that only the emperor's touch was effective? Beside her, Xiao Ye's face was serious, his eyes clear. He was very seriously treating the deity of destiny. He had to remain serious, or he would burst out laughing. He couldn't laugh. The deity of destiny was the future Gu Qingchen, the embodiment of his obsession. He owed the future Gu Qingchen, The embodiment of his obsession, too much? If he could help the deity of destiny resolve her pain, he would gladly give her a massage, even remarry her. The deity of destiny completely relaxed. At this moment, the tightness and annoyance in her heart completely disappeared, replaced by joy and comfort. An uncontrollable smile appeared on her beautiful face, a relaxed and happy expression. These expressions were not controlled by her, they were an instinctive manifestation. The deity of destiny was immersed in joy and comfort, staring blankly at Xiao Ye's handsome face. She was certain. Her instincts still cared deeply about the human emperor. Although she, the deity of destiny, had lost her memories of her previous life, the emotions she instinctively felt were real. Seeing the human emperor in intimate contact with other women made her instinctively feel uncomfortable and tight, like eating lemon juice, very sour and annoyed. But when the human emperor touched her, her inner emotions instinctively turned to joy and happiness. The closer the contact, the more comfortable and joyful she felt. Xiao Ye had already regarded the goddess of destiny as the embodiment of his obsession, the future King Chen. Seeing her pain disappear in her face full of smiles, he withdrew his hand. He softly smiled and said, "Goddess of destiny, are you feeling better?" The goddess of destiny was momentarily dazed. Just now, when the human emperor withdrew his hand, she actually wanted to grab it and let it keep rubbing her until the end of time. What's wrong with me? Could it be that even without memories, I still love the human emperor in my heart? At this moment, the goddess of destiny had an unprecedented desire to regain her memories. She didn't want to be tormented by her inner thoughts, didn't want to be too passive. It was as if she wasn't whole now, but incomplete, as if something was missing. What was missing was her past life memories. Only by regaining her past life memories could she become a complete goddess of destiny. At this moment, the primordial queen spoke somewhat awkwardly, Human emperor, could you rub it for me? I want to verify my guess." Xiao Ye's expression was strange, and he immediately refused. "No. The goddess of destiny is the reincarnation of the future King Chen. I already had marital relations with her in my previous life, so I can accept rubbing it for her. But as for you, we're not that familiar yet. Besides, I have no intention or urge to take advantage of you." "All right then." The primordial queen was somewhat disappointed, but helpless. The deity of fate stole a few glances at Xiao Ye, her expression somewhat unnatural. "Human emperor, thank you. I may suffer again in the future, please heal me as much as possible. Now, let's hurry and save the reincarnation god. In the basic information my sister gave me, the 5 elements gods are ruthless and their hearts are filthy. The longer the reincarnation god stays with them, the more suffering they will endure." The primordial empress's expression turned serious. "All right." She immediately grabbed Xiao Ye's hand, saying, "Human emperor, the chaotic space of the ruleless zone is filled with broken and corrupt rulers. It's extremely dangerous. Hold on tight to me, lest we be rejected by those rulers." Hearing this, Xiao Ye tightly grasped the primordial empress's jade hand. This concerned his safety, he couldn't be careless. Seeing their actions, the deity of fate, who had just been smiling, turned grim. Her heart began to feel suffocated again. Although she didn't feel the same pain and discomfort as when she saw the Empress and the human emperor earlier, the mild tightness and unease she felt now were still making her very uncomfortable. Seeing the goddess of destiny's grim expression, the primordial empress said, "It's all right. The goddess of reincarnation can simply self-destruct, her will returning to the original source of the reincarnation rules. She won't die. Even a god can completely die if she wants to." The goddess of destiny nodded, floated to Xiao Ye's right, raised her jade hand and grasped his right hand, saying, "Human emperor, we'll be on your left and right, ensuring your safety on this journey." Her pretty face flushed slightly, she was lying. She wanted to grasp his hand because of the tightness and unease in her heart. A warmth flowed through Xiao Ye's heart, and he said, "Thank you." Thus, the two beautiful goddesses, holding Xiao Ye's hands, soared towards Kunlun Mountain. In just a few seconds, the two goddesses and the human arrived before a towering ancient tree, filled with an aura of decay and decay. The primordial empress of space gently made a slash. A special rift appeared. The two goddesses and the human stepped inside. In an instant, their vision changed. This is a desolate, dilapidated, and decaying world. It's like hell, devoid of any vitality, even the void is lifeless, like a stagnant pool. Upon the appearance of living beings, The dilapidated mountain range before them immediately opened its eyes, like the ferocious eyes of the heavenly Dao, emanating an incomparably domineering and supreme aura. A heavy, desolate message rang out, "Desolate realm, beings from Blue Star, halt." The primordial queen's expression changed drastically. She clasped her hands politely and said, "Senior, we have come here to save the god of reincarnation. She was captured and brought here by the five elements gods." She secretly transmitted her voice, "Human Emperor, Destiny, this aura of the Dominator is above the Emperor realm. Even I didn't expect this to be the Desolate realm, the legendary origin world of the universe. This trip will likely not end well." Hearing this, Xiao Ye's pupils contracted, and the god of Destiny's expression turned solemn. They had just entered and already encountered a powerful being above the Emperor realm? The Desolate realm, the origin world of the universe? What is that? The colossal mountain range, reeking of decay and ruin, turned bloodshot, its appearance ferocious and terrifying. It impatiently said, "Get lost. Or you won't be leaving." A god? A god of Blue Star? What a joke. Xiao Ye clenched two soft, boneless hands, mentally summoning the Temple of Time and Space. He then used the Temple of Time and Space to mark the primordial Empress and the god of Destiny. If this mountain range before him became enraged, the Temple of Time and Space would protect its master. He didn't currently possess the strength to directly confront a powerful being above the Emperor realm. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 587, Rescuing the God of Reincarnation. The colossal mountain range's menacing eyes stared at Xiao Ye, the primordial empress, and the god of destiny. It suddenly narrowed, a look of surprise flashing in its eyes. The grand scheme of the universe? I advise you to leave immediately. You are not yet qualified to enter this place. Come back when you've reached the threshold of the great Dao. I will send the reincarnation goddess you sought to save out. Go. It closed its eyes, and a hurricane swept through. Xiao Ye, the primordial empress, and the god of destiny were instantly transported back to Kunlun Mountain, to the towering tree beside it. The once dilapidated and decaying tree was now lush and vibrant. The three clicked their tongues, looked at each other, and exchanged bewildered glances. Reaching the threshold of the great Dao was required to enter the desolate realm? What a joke. The Emperor realm was only the initial step into the rules, leaving the planet. They were still 100,000 miles away from the threshold of the great Dao. The primordial queen frowned. The entrance to the desolate realm has disappeared, and this tree has returned to normal. But why is the desolate realm, the origin of the universe, located on Blue Star? Why is the desolate realm so desolate, decaying, and dilapidated? I've been to several chaotic, ruleless zones before, and the rulers there were only at the initial Emperor realm. There were no beings this powerful. The god of destiny shook his head. I don't know. Xiao Ye released their hands, shaking off the fine water droplets. Just now, the primordial queen and the god of destiny had both been so nervous that their hands were sweating. It made him feel somewhat awkward. If you can't figure it out, don't think about it anymore, Xiao Ye said with a faint smile. The primordial queen pondered. It seems the desolate realm has existed within Blue Star for quite some time. But I've never heard of this. This means the desolate realm won't interfere with Blue Star. The desolate realm also doesn't allow Blue Star's beings to enter. As long as the desolate realm's ruler doesn't appear on Blue Star, it doesn't really matter. Otherwise, Blue Star would have been destroyed long ago, and we gods wouldn't have been born. As she spoke, she raised her hand and created a special cage. She then pulled Xiao Ye and the god of destiny back tens of thousands of meters. The special cage had just formed when three pale-faced, burly men appeared in midair, accompanied by a stunningly beautiful woman with a solemn expression. The special cage directly covered the three burly men. This caused their expressions to change drastically. Damn it, it's the primordial queen again. Why are we so unlucky? We just escaped one danger only to fall into another. Are our bodies, which we just condensed using a supreme treasure, going to be destroyed again? Wait a minute, how did the primordial queen know we were here? In this chaotic, unregulated space, she shouldn't be able to sense our presence. Damn it, Thunder God, how dare you say that? This chaotic, Unregulated space has so many terrifying beings. I'd rather face the primordial queen than them. That's right, inside, I have a feeling we'll die completely, but facing the primordial queen, at most our bodies will be destroyed, we won't die. I don't know what happened, but we were kicked out. Sigh, the reincarnation god was rescued, our plan is ruined. Talking about the desolate realm. The three gods still felt lingering fear, their eyes filled with intense dread. The stunningly beautiful woman, after assessing her surroundings, brightened up and appeared beside the primordial queen in a flash, exclaiming with delight, "Primordial queen, you've come to save me. I've discovered a super big secret, I'll share it with you when we get back. You'll be absolutely shocked." The primordial queen shook her head. The desolate realm, I've already been inside. The beautiful woman, a reincarnation deity, was stunned. What? That place is called the desolate realm? You've already been inside? How did you get out? After I was captured by the five elements gods, all my power was locked up by the ruler of that realm, I couldn't use any of it. That ruler even told us to wait to die, that once we were here, we couldn't leave. But later, that ruler kicked us out. The primordial queen said blankly, we were also kicked out. But you must have been saved by the ruler we met. Let's not talk about the desolate realm for now, how are you? You weren't bullied by those three trash gods, were you? The newly born deity, a mere cultivator at the peak of the first stage of the emperor realm, was certainly no match for established deities like the five elements deities, thunder attribute deities, and illusion attribute deities. Upon hearing this, the stunningly beautiful reincarnation deity's delicate face filled with grievance, a glint of cunning flashing in her beautiful eyes. She said pitifully, "They're so mean, they spanked my bottom. They even said they wanted me to warm their bed. Ancestor Empress, you must kill them, crush them." She waved her little fists, her face regaining its fierce expression. The five elemental deities, lightning attribute deities, and illusion attribute deities imprisoned in the special cage looked grim, cursing, "Reincarnation deity, don't slander us. We only captured you and brought you here, we didn't say a word to you." "That's right, gods don't lie. We didn't touch you, we used the power of rules to imprison you remotely. HMPH, our thoughts may be a bit filthy, we wanted to use you to exchange for the origin of the rules of fate, but we are principled deities, disdaining to do those lowly things related to reproduction that humans and ferocious beasts do." The stunningly beautiful reincarnation deity pitifully said, "Your Majesty, they're lying. They were clearly leering at me. They even said they'd capture you and ravage you." The ancestral empress's lips twitched, the reincarnation deity's lies were too easy to spot. She waved her hand, "All right, stop playing the victim. Even without you saying so, I won't let them go. Human Emperor, it's up to you." Human Emperor? The stunningly beautiful reincarnation goddess blinked her large eyes, looking at Xiao Ye curiously. She raised her jade-like hand and gently poked Xiao Ye's cheek, exclaiming, "Oh dear, Human Emperor brother, they bullied me. You have to avenge me. Look at my butt, it's all swollen and sticking up." Xiao Ye glanced at it, his pupils shrinking. It really was sticking up. But, was it really from being beaten? The stunningly beautiful reincarnation goddess's lips curled into a smile. "Human Emperor, my butt hurts so much, can you rub it for me, please?" HMPH. The destiny goddess snorted coldly, feeling an uncontrollable jealousy. "Human Emperor, can you eliminate these three gods first?" Xiao Ye withdrew his gaze, his old face blushing. He immediately activated his will adjuster, issuing the command in his mind, "Eliminate the wills of the five elements gods, the thunder attribute god, and the illusion attribute god in front of you." Boom. A supreme aura descended, covering the three burly men. Their faces turned deathly pale, and they exclaimed in disbelief, "My will is fading. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. To die here like this. How unwilling I am. Boy, we should have killed you long ago, so you wouldn't have a chance to fight." The three gods' faces twisted in agony, yet their bodies remained intact. A tenth of a second later, they collapsed, their wide-open eyes filled with deathly stillness, devoid of any spirit. Meanwhile, in the endless void somewhere on Blue Star, the original forms of the lightning and phantom elemental rules transformed from dim to dazzlingly bright. The lightning and phantom elemental rules of Blue Star became even more abundant. The original forms of the five elements rules, however, remained completely unchanged. Chapter 588 The death of a god shocks all the gods. As the wills of the thunder and illusionary spirit gods were utterly annihilated, the dozen or so gods who had returned from the starry sky on Blue Star were all horrified, their gazes filled with shock and solemnity as they stared at the endless void of Blue Star. With the gods fallen, the origins of the rules returned to the natural order of Blue Star. The original forms of the thunder and illusionary spirit rules, having lost the control of their divine wills, instinctively merged into Blue Star, operating according to their own inherent rules. These gods became increasingly fearful. Blue Star held immense terror. A taboo existed. Among them was an unwritten rule: as long as Blue Star existed, the gods would exist eternally, immortal. Even if their physical bodies perished, their divine will would remain unharmed, freely returning to its original form to condense a new primordial body. But now, this unspoken rule had been broken. The thunder god and the illusionary spirit god had been completely annihilated. Two gods had died at the same time. Gods, too, could die. Both the five elements gods and the primordial queen's faction simultaneously contacted their respective leaders, seeking to uncover the truth. Why had the gods died? In an alien star system, the five elements god squatted on the ground, his face pale, his eyes filled with terror, his hands trembling. That brat, he actually managed to annihilate a god's will. Damn it, how could such terrifying humans appear on Blue Star? Gods rule everything, yet that brat could kill a god. More terrifying than a god. He was still shaken. Recalling the scene of his will being annihilated, his heart pounded. Thunder god and illusion god, those two idiots. So stupid that they entrusted their will entirely to their original bodies, and now they're dead, truly dead. After a while, the five elements god finally calmed down. He received messages from the other gods in the five elements faction, all inquiring about the cause of thunder and illusion gods' deaths. He could resonate with the five elements rules of Blue Star, and no matter how far away his will was, he could receive information through the five elements rule source as a relay station. The five elements god cursed inwardly and issued the command: from today onwards, the five elements faction will no longer interfere in the mortal world or the realm of rules. Those who disobey orders will be subject to the annihilation of their will. Phew. Hopefully those gods won't provoke that brat, otherwise their deaths will be in vain. Hiss, I also killed that brat's Taoist partner. It seems I'll have to hide for a while. The five elements god looked around and plunged into the White Horse star system ahead. On Blue Star, not far from the towering tree of Kunlun Mountain, the ancestor of all mountains, the primordial empress and the stunningly beautiful reincarnation god stared wide-eyed, their eyes filled with shock. Dead. Thunder god and illusion god, they were both dead. The human emperor could actually erase the will of gods. A human actually did this. This is the human emperor. A flicker of surprise crossed the deity of fate's eyes, but she wasn't shocked. Instinctively, she even felt this was normal, and a touch of pride crept in, taking pride in the human emperor. Realizing this instinctive emotion, the deity of fate frowned slightly. I'm not the human emperor's wife, how can I be proud of him? Could it be that, instinctively, I believe I am the human emperor's wife? Beside her, the stunningly beautiful reincarnation goddess and the primordial empress were secretly communicating. Empress, have you become the human emperor's protector yet? Several days have passed since our last discussion, replied the reincarnation goddess. No, I haven't gained enough trust yet. Besides, look, the human emperor hasn't even eliminated the gods. Does he need my protection? Asked the primordial empress. Ah. Then I teased the human emperor earlier, won't he be angry? The reincarnation goddess's heart skipped a beat. He shouldn't be, he's not that petty. We need your help to save you this time, said the primordial empress. Help? The reincarnation goddess's beautiful eyes lit up. He needs my help, so I'll tease him a bit more. It'll be so much fun. You, don't do anything reckless. The primordial empress's face darkened. The stunningly beautiful reincarnation goddess, petite yet curvaceous, leaned towards Xiao Ye. Xiao Ye was admiring his masterpiece, very satisfied. Gods, in his hands, could still be killed. From now on, if any god offended him, a single combo would take them away. But then, a beautiful face appeared in his field of vision. A delicate hand patted his clothes, and she giggled. Human Emperor, your clothes are all dusty. Human Emperor, you're so great. Those three gods are so mean. I've wanted to beat them up for ages. Thank you, Human Emperor, for helping me get revenge. Human Emperor, you're so kind. Can you rub my bottom again? It's all swollen from being hit. She stuck out her bottom, shook it vigorously, and tilted her head, playfully winking her right eye. The goddess of fate grew impatient, finding the goddess of reincarnation rather displeasing. This goddess of reincarnation seemed so pretentious. Her eyebrows furrowed. If the human emperor really went to rub the goddess of reincarnation's bottom, she would feel even more resentful. Xiao Ye looked at the ancestral empress and asked calmly, "Your Majesty, has this reincarnation god's brain been slammed in a door?" The ancestral empress was bewildered. "No, I don't know either. PFFT. The goddess of destiny laughed, gratitude appearing in her beautiful eyes. If only the human emperor hadn't rubbed it, she would have been heartbroken. The stunning reincarnation goddess froze, her butt sticking out as she stood there petrified. She gritted her teeth and cursed inwardly. He practically offered himself up, and he refused, even calling me crazy. HMPH, what a straight man. With someone like that, I'd rather be his protector than his wife, ahem. The primordial empress coughed, then said seriously, "Reincarnation goddess, your life was saved by the human emperor. If he hadn't found your coordinates, I wouldn't have discovered that you'd been captured and brought here. You should be grateful to the human emperor. Also, the deity goddess has lost her memories of her past life after reincarnation. Think of a way to restore her memories." "Oh? This is the deity goddess? My former good sister?" The reincarnation goddess's beautiful eyes lit up, and she instantly forgot about what had just happened. She circled the goddess of destiny, finally saying in disappointment, "This isn't my good sister. It's a newly born goddess of destiny." The primordial empress sighed. The last goddess of destiny perished completely. Reincarnation is impossible. The current goddess of destiny is a new deity born from the extraction of human will and its fusion with the essence of destiny. But her memories have vanished. The god of reincarnation glanced at the goddess of destiny a few times, then simply shrugged, "Your Majesty, please don't make things difficult for me. Sister Destiny is clearly a high-level Emperor Realm being, I'm just a lowly first-stage Emperor Realm nobody. How could I possibly restore her memories? I simply don't have that ability." The goddess of destiny couldn't control the fate of gods. Similarly, the god of reincarnation was powerless over the reincarnation of gods. God of reincarnation, I have a secret technique called using one's body as a seed, which can help you quickly advance to the star domain realm. Are you interested? Xiao Ye then spoke. The transmission of this secret technique required massage. But for the sake of the memories of the god of fate, he decided to give it his all. So what if he was tired? It was just a massage, he could handle it. Chapter 589 The reincarnated gods wept without tears. Rapidly advanced to the star domain realm? Upon hearing this, both the primordial empress and the god of reincarnation widened their eyes. In their understanding, the star domain realm was a realm even more powerful than that of gods. Hundreds of thousands of years had passed since the birth of the gods of Blue Star, and only the Empress of Time had advanced to the star domain realm. The highest level of the others was the peak of the Emperor realm. The two beautiful goddesses' breathing became rapid, and their hearts pounded. Yes. Of course I want to. Human Emperor brother, little reincarnation wants to advance to the star domain realm. With Xiao Ye erasing the will of a god before, the stunningly beautiful god of reincarnation did not doubt Xiao Ye's words. He hadn't even completely killed a god. Advancing to the star domain realm should be a simple matter for him. The primordial queen asked doubtfully, using one's body as a seed means the reincarnation god should follow the path of cosmic beings? Xiao Ye smiled and nodded. Yes, the path of gods has too many drawbacks. It relies entirely on the original source of rules. It's too constrained by the planet and the original source of rules. To advance in the path of gods, one must first upgrade the original source of rules, which is then limited by Blue Star. But the path of cosmic beings uses one's body as a seed, with the original source of rules as an aid, and is not limited by the planet. Of course, this also has drawbacks. Using one's body as a seed, once the body and soul are killed, one is completely dead. Unlike the path of gods, even if the body perishes, as long as the original source of rules remains, the will can continue to live. Reincarnation God, would you rather follow the path of gods or the path of cosmic beings? If you follow the path of gods, I can help you advance to the star domain realm, but after that, your path will likely be difficult, almost completely blocked. He asked solemnly. The reincarnation god hesitated. In her world, the star domain realm was already an incredibly powerful existence, capable of roaming freely on Blue Star. Regardless of the path of advancement, Reaching the star domain realm was all that mattered. The primordial empress reminded her, reincarnation god, don't forget the desolate realm. The star domain realm only allows for the initial traversal of the universe. After that, there are the sovereign realm, the universe level, and the universe origin level. On Blue Star, the star domain realm is not invincible. My sister, the time empress, is at the star domain realm, yet she's not satisfied and wants to advance to an even higher realm. I've made up my mind. I want to walk the path of cosmic beings. A resolute expression appeared on the reincarnation god's small, delicate face. Gods are not immortal. Facing cosmic powerhouses, even gods can die. Therefore, the claim of gods being immortal is unfounded. Following the path of gods, even if one advances to the star domain realm, it's a lifetime's journey. But the path of cosmic beings has far fewer restrictions and offers the hope of continuous advancement. The reincarnation god's face was earnest. Brother Human Emperor, please teach me the method of using my body as a seed. Little reincarnation will be eternally grateful. From now on, if you tell me to go east, I will never go west. I will listen to Brother Human Emperor from now on. Xiao Ye nodded. Alright, since that's the case. Let's all enter the bronze hall. A blue light gate opened. The three gods and Xiao Ye entered, arriving at the altar world. Xiao Ye tossed a large villa from his system space and placed it on the open ground. After everyone entered the living room, he handed a clean white towel to the reincarnation goddess, saying, go take a bath first, wash off the stench, and don't wear clothes into the bedroom. I'll come in and teach you in a bit. The stunningly beautiful reincarnation goddess clutched the towel, completely dumbfounded, her face blank. Huh? I don't smell bad, why do I need to bathe? Wait, no. Why do I need to use the moonlit light technique to teach you the secret method of using your body as a seed? She had intended to tease the human emperor, but she never expected him to actually take advantage of her. Now, her teasing failed, and she ended up getting herself involved. The primordial empress and the goddess of destiny also widened their beautiful eyes. Human emperor, does teaching and learning through using one's body as a seed necessarily mean teaching while naked? Human emperor, can we find another way? Xiao Ye shook his head, frowning. No. Using one's body as a seed means altering the characteristics of a divine body, transforming it into the body of a cosmic being. It's the reincarnation god who's naked, I don't need to. I only need to use a secret massage technique, combined with the cosmic being's structure as a seed, to change her physical characteristics. Massage? The reincarnation god, the primordial empress, and the god of destiny were all stunned. Not only naked, but also physically. For some reason, the god of destiny imagined Xiao Ye massaging the reincarnation god, feeling a tightness in his chest and becoming uncomfortable. Xiao Ye sighed, reincarnation god, if you don't want to, then so be it. If you want to advance to the star domain realm, there's another way, the path of gods. The reincarnation god was caught in a dilemma. The primordial empress, on the other hand, was eager to try. She had always wanted to become the human emperor's wife, so what if she wanted to see it? Reincarnation, you should walk the path of the gods. The star domain realm is the undisputed overlord of Blue Star. As long as the things in the desolate realm don't emerge, and Blue Star isn't invaded by the great cosmic races, you won't die. Blue Star exists forever, and so will you. The goddess of destiny breathed a sigh of relief, her heart no longer heavy. If the goddess of reincarnation walks the path of the gods, she won't be taken advantage of by the human emperor. She won't be upset anymore. The reincarnation goddess stubbornly raised her small face, declaring defiantly, no. I used to think the star domain realm was invincible, with no rivals on Blue Star. But after witnessing the desolate realm and the human emperor's obliteration of divine will, I know the star domain realm is not invincible. Therefore, I, the reincarnation goddess, must walk the path of cosmic beings. I, the reincarnation goddess, am not the kind of god who is content with the status quo, gives up, or is easily satisfied. So what if I'm seen naked and touched naked? For the supreme realm, I, the reincarnation goddess, can do it. Her tone was very firm, but a blush rose on her small face, and her eyes secretly glanced at the human emperor several times. The human emperor is quite excellent, isn't he? Following the human emperor in the future wouldn't be bad. Once he sees me naked, I'll cling to him. The destiny goddess's face stiffened, and she felt a pang of sadness. It seemed that deep down, she didn't want the human emperor to be with other women. But what reason did she, The Destiny Goddess, have to stop the human emperor from being with other women. She had no connection with the human emperor. I'm off. The Reincarnation Goddess, clutching a towel in her small hands, rushed into the bathroom with a look of grim determination. Xiao Ye smiled. He could tell that the Reincarnation Goddess was mischievous and liked to play pranks. But the Reincarnation Goddess wasn't inherently bad. Goddess of Destiny, once the Reincarnation Goddess advances to the Star Domain Realm, she can use Star Domain Realm divine powers to help you recover your memories. At that time, you will remember everything, he said softly. The Goddess of Destiny nodded expressionlessly. The human emperor was doing this for her sake. Even if she felt terrible, she had to endure it. The day her memories returned, she could face her own heart and release her suppressed instincts. To become a true Goddess of Destiny, a complete Goddess of Destiny. Half an hour later, the Reincarnation Goddess, draped in a towel, emerged, shyly lowering her head, almost burying it in her chest. Human Emperor, I'm ready, come on over. Xiao Ye smiled faintly, coming right away. He extracted the ancient massage technique for modifying the body as a seed from the template adjuster. Under the gaze of the ancestral empress and the god of destiny, he entered the bedroom. Chapter 590 Using one's own body as a seed to transform one's physical form. Inside the bedroom, the Reincarnation God blushed, her large eyes blinking shyly and curiously as she stared at Xiao Ye. Brother Human Emperor, what should I do? Xiao Ye smiled faintly, just lie down. Leave everything to me. I can handle it. Okay. The Reincarnation God tossed aside the towel, covered her flushed face with her hands, and laid down. Xiao Ye's pupils contracted. What a perfect body, every part crystal clear, without a single blemish. Curved in the front and buttocks, exquisitely beautiful. The only drawback was her height, only 1.6 meters, a bit short, but this did not overshadow her other advantages. He observed seriously, mentally rehearsing the ancient secret technique. This secret technique was dozens of times more difficult than the one he had used to correct his physical defects. Even he could not master it quickly. The mental rehearsal progressed very slowly. Xiao Ye could only stare intently at the Reincarnation God, trying to speed up the rehearsal. Hey, brother Human Emperor, what are you doing standing there? Little Reincarnation is ready. Go ahead, little Reincarnation can handle it. The goddess of reincarnation covered her face with her hands, her eyes tightly closed, and spoke. But after a while, the human emperor still hadn't come. She couldn't help but loosen her hands from her face and open her big eyes to take a look. Her face darkened, and she pouted, somewhat dissatisfied. HMPH, the human emperor was staring at her intently. Was he mesmerized? Was the human emperor the kind of filthy human who couldn't resist a woman? In her heart, her evaluation of the human emperor plummeted, and her impression of him worsened considerably. So the human emperor was just a lecherous rogue. He wasn't as good as the empress had described, he was simply a filthy man. Sigh, but now she needed his help. Since he'd already looked, she might as well let him look for a while. The Reincarnation God closed his eyes and said coldly, Human Emperor, I can let you see. However, if you don't know the using your body as a seed body transforming secret technique, I'll definitely make you pay. My Reincarnation God's advantage isn't something anyone can take advantage of. The coldness in his voice was undisguised. Xiao Ye frowned. I've worked so hard practicing here, just to master this body transforming massage technique. To succeed on the first try. And you're not happy about it? He twitched his lips, speechless. Reincarnation God, I've only just deduced the body transforming massage technique, I haven't tried it on a god yet. If I try it directly, I'm afraid I'll make mistakes. A slight mistake, and your body might be transformed incorrectly. Forget advancing to the star domain realm, your body might even be destroyed. I need to mentally rehearse the massage transformation technique several times, combining it with your body. That will increase the success rate of transforming your body. Huh? The Reincarnation God opened his eyes, his large eyes filled with bewilderment. Her little face blankly stammered, Is that so? Xiao Ye nodded, I have no reason to lie to you. The Reincarnation Goddess's face turned even redder. The human emperor indeed had no reason to lie. If he really wanted to take advantage, wouldn't it be more appealing to just touch her directly? Taking advantage during a massage would be even more reasonable, wouldn't it? But he just stood there, merely looking at her, letting her find fault? A person as intelligent as the human emperor would definitely not do something so foolish. The reincarnation goddess was extremely embarrassed, her fair toes clenched tightly, and she said softly and awkwardly, I'm sorry, human emperor brother, I misunderstood you. Before, when I made the empress sister angry, she would spank my bottom. If you're angry, then spank my bottom. Little reincarnation is willing to accept punishment. Saying this, she was about to stick her head out, letting Xiao Ye punish her. Human emperor, you are so outstanding, and I actually misunderstood you as a filthy man. Since I made a mistake, I must accept the punishment. This is what the empress sister taught me, it can't be wrong. Xiao Ye's lips twitched. This sight almost made him lose his composure. He hurriedly said, don't move. I'm not angry, and I won't hit you. If you move around like this, it will make my deduction of the massage modification technique more difficult. Oh. The reincarnation god blushed and returned to his original position and posture. Half an hour later, the reincarnation god was no longer so shy. He lay in a starfish position and asked curiously, Brother Human Emperor, how long will it take you to deduce the technique? Xiao Ye remained expressionless. The massage technique for modifying the body was too difficult. Half an hour had passed, and he still hadn't completed one repetition. He frowned and said, if it's slow, it will take several months. The body of a god is different from that of a human. I haven't studied gods. If I were familiar with the body of a god, it could be done in a few hours. Several months? The reincarnation god was startled. The primordial empress was still waiting outside. She didn't want the empress to wait that long. Moreover, if the human emperor stood there staring at her for months on end, she would die of embarrassment. After thinking for a moment, the reincarnation god spoke up, Human Emperor, why don't you use me first to study the body of a god? To familiarize yourself with the differences between gods and humans. It's fine to handle it, since you've already seen it. I just want it to be quick, my sister Empress is still waiting outside. In her heart, the primordial Empress was extremely important, and she couldn't keep the primordial Empress waiting. She had no intention of making her boss wait for her subordinate. Xiao Ye was stunned for a moment, and hesitated, to handle it and familiarize myself with it. The reincarnation god's tone was firm, yes, Human Emperor, please come. Xiao Ye's brows relaxed, and he stepped forward directly. He looked at the reincarnation god up close. From afar, it was a hazy beauty, up close, it was a real beauty. At this moment, the reincarnation god had nowhere to hide in his gaze. I'm here, he announced, immediately reaching out and using his divine sense to explore the body's internal organs, bones, blood, spiritual sea, meridians, spine, nerves, and so on. The touch was cool and smooth. From the jade feet to the limbs, to the torso, to the head, he meticulously explored each part, probing with his divine sense. The body of a deity is very similar to that of a human. Outwardly, it looks exactly like a human. But the structure of the body is vastly different. This body is constructed using the essence of reincarnation, extremely pure, without a trace of impurity. The reincarnation goddess felt Xiao Ye's touch, her face turning as red as a ripe apple. Her head practically steaming with embarrassment. She tightly closed her eyes, her long eyelashes trembling, revealing her inner turmoil. I've been seen naked. I've been touched naked again. The reincarnation goddess, am defiled. Maybe I should become the human emperor's wife, being a protector is such a waste. The time Empress said that the human emperor is the future of the universe and will surely rise to become the supreme ruler of the universe. Following her and becoming his wife doesn't seem like a bad deal. I just don't know if the human emperor will even look at me. I even flirted with him before. If the human emperor doesn't like me, then what? After familiarizing himself with the technique, Xiao Ye finally practiced a body-modifying massage method several times in his mind. At this moment, his confidence increased greatly, and his chances of success on the first try increased significantly. Alright, I'm going to start modifying your body. You might feel a little uncomfortable during the process, but after success, you will be a completely new reincarnation god. Using your body as a seed, you will not be restricted by Blue Star, nor by the original rules of reincarnation. Your body is your foundation, more important than anything else. After saying this, he wiped the fine sweat from the reincarnation god's flushed skin with a towel, his attention becoming highly focused. He began using the massage technique to modify the reincarnation god's body. The reincarnation god couldn't help but cry out. Chapter 591 The obsessive body Gu King Chang appears. The primordial empress and the goddess of destiny sat patiently on the living room sofa. At their level, even the slightest sound could be clearly heard. Furthermore, the villa's soundproofing was only so-so. The two gods heard Xiao Ye and the goddess of reincarnation's conversation perfectly. The primordial empress said softly, "It seems this is the first time the human emperor has attempted to modify a god's body. The first time using secret massage techniques to modify the body of a cosmic being that is its seed. I wonder if it will succeed. After all, modifying a body sounds too absurd." The goddess of destiny's mind was in turmoil. Her face remained expressionless, but secretly she gritted her teeth, her fists clenched so tightly that her fingernails dug deep into her flesh. Images of the bedroom uncontrollably surfaced in her mind. She uncontrollably imagined Xiao Ye and the goddess of reincarnation intimately touching, whispering sweet nothings. A bitter, stifling, irritable, jealous, and annoyed feeling welled up within her. These emotions made her extremely uncomfortable. She couldn't control her reason or logic at all. She was clearly suffering uncontrollably, yet her mind kept replaying the scene in the bedroom. It was a huge contradiction. The more she thought about it, the more uncomfortable she became. Her expressionless face turned deathly pale, and she felt like she couldn't breathe. The ancestral empress was startled and asked worriedly, "Deity of fate, your emotions are fluctuating wildly again? But the emperor is in the bedroom right now and can't leave to treat you. Why don't we leave here and go for a walk to ease our minds?" The deity of fate shook her head, her face pale, and hurriedly took out a delicate little box engraved with the three characters Gu Qingchen, holding it tightly to her chest. At this moment, the complex negative emotions within her finally subsided somewhat. Even if they remained, they weren't as suffocating as before. She felt much better. She took a few deep breaths. "No need, we'll wait here. I can still bear it at this level. We need to stay here and guard, so if anything happens to the human emperor, we can help immediately." The goddess of destiny clearly knew that the human emperor's reason for modifying the body of the goddess of reincarnation to quickly advance to the star domain realm was to restore her memories. She also desperately wanted to regain her memories. Currently, she was incomplete, and she longed to quickly return to being the complete goddess of destiny. Seeing that the goddess of destiny's condition had improved considerably, the primordial empress breathed a sigh of relief and said, "Since you insist, you'll have to endure it. It might take several days before the human emperor emerges. Hopefully, the modification will be successful in one go. I'm also looking forward to seeing what the goddess of reincarnation will look like after the modification is complete. The way of the universe, the supreme being of the universe, I also yearn for it." The goddess of destiny shook her head. She had no interest in the supreme being of the universe. Right now, she only wanted to quickly regain her memories and become complete again. Holding the exquisite little box, her condition gradually improved considerably. But then, several embarrassing, indescribable sounds came from the bedroom. HMPH. These sounds rose and fell, continuous. The ancestral empress's beautiful eyes widened, her pretty face flushing red. But suddenly, she felt a chilling aura and a murderous aura emanating from the side. Turning her head, she was almost startled. She saw that the deity of fate was stiff, the exquisite little box falling to the ground. Her pale face turned furious, her eyes like knives. She exuded a murderous aura, causing the surrounding temperature to drop sharply. Her body trembled as she picked up the kitchen knife on the table and walked step by step towards the bedroom. The ancestral empress was stunned. She waved her hand, creating a special cage to lock the deity of fate. But the deity of fate erupted with the aura of the early stage of the third level of the emperor realm, her eyes turning blood red, her gaze bursting with intense murderous intent. A cold voice said, "Don't block me, I'm going to kill this slut. How dare she seduce my husband? Does she deserve it?" The ancestral empress was stunned. "What? Destiny, you want to kill the god of reincarnation? What did you call the human emperor, husband?" She carefully observed the god of destiny. At this moment, the god of destiny still possessed that ethereal, otherworldly aura, but a thick resentment had permeated his being. His sharp eyes seemed to have become weathered, as if he had experienced many things. Wait a minute, the god of destiny's original eyes were incredibly pure, like a newborn baby, pure to the extreme. How could they be like this now, with such a weathered look, like an old monster who has lived for a very long time? The deity of fate scoffed. "Fate? What fate? I am Gu Qingchen. Ancestor Empress, I admit you are strong, but please don't force me to kill you." The ancestor empress was dumbfounded, saying incredulously, "You say you are Gu Qingcheng? Fate, Gu Qingcheng, you've regained your memories?" The deity of fate said impatiently, "Stop talking nonsense, release me now, I want to kill that bitch. She dared to seduce my husband, Gu Qingcheng's husband, she must die. She's been keeping a lowly position for 100 years, and I'm still not satisfied, yet she dares to dream of gaining my husband's favor, in her dreams." The ancestor empress's expression turned solemn, saying, "The human emperor is inside massaging the reincarnation goddess, modifying her body. Not the kind of reproductive act you're imagining." The deity of fate paused, hesitating. "You're not lying to me?" The ancestor empress nodded, "I have no reason to lie. Gu Qingcheng, you don't want to disturb the human emperor and make him angry, do you? So, calm down. We'll wait here. The emperor will come out after his massage. He's missed you terribly these past few days. He went through countless hardships to revive you and restore your memories. Please don't cause him any trouble." The murderous aura surrounding the deity dissipated, and her expression returned to normal. Her beautiful eyes, however, were still red, brimming with tears. Her gaze was fixed on the bedroom door, but her expression was one of pure joy, her surprise overflowing. "Ah, I really didn't die, ha ha ha, I, Gu Qingcheng, am truly a woman favored by my husband. I didn't die, I can still see my husband, and I can still be by his side." The deity trembled with joy. "When my memories disappeared, I thought I was going to die, but I never expected that not only would my memories not disappear, but I'd be alright. Ugh. I really want to see my husband soon and tell him this news." Not far away, the ancestral empress, seeing the deity's restored memories, beamed with delight. Unfortunately, the human emperor was currently modifying the body of the reincarnation goddess and couldn't come out immediately. Otherwise, the human emperor would surely be very happy. The deity goddess stared intently at the bedroom door, her heart filled with excitement and unable to calm down. "Husband, thank you for saving me, but I just woke up and can't see you right away. I feel so bad. Is this a divine body? It's somewhat flawed, full of loopholes. I'll have to trouble you to modify my body in the future, It seems there's an extra memory in your mind." After sorting through it for a while, a look of sudden realization appeared on the deity goddess's face. It turned out that after her will was extracted, it merged into the original body of the rules of destiny, becoming the deity goddess. Chapter 592 Body Modification Successfully Achieved Using One's Own Body as a Seed. After becoming the deity of destiny, she would experience instinctive reactions upon encountering familiar environments and events. These reactions were the work of her repressed, deep-seated will. Memories faded like energy dissipated. After experiencing familiar environments, memories would gradually return from the depths of her will, much like absorbing external energy to replenish her own. However, these memories remained repressed deep within her will, preventing direct memory recovery. The deity of destiny was essentially her amnesiac self. She was the deity of destiny. The ancestral empress gazed at the deity of destiny within the spatial cage with a complex expression. This deity of destiny, no, she should be called the obsessive body Gu Qingcheng, possessed a love for the human emperor that ran deep to the core. Even the extraction of will and the dissipation of memories could not stop or dispel the profound and penetrating love and affection Gu Qingcheng held for the human emperor. She was truly a woman of extreme devotion. The ancestral empress spoke, "Gu Qingcheng, your memories have been restored. The human emperor will be overjoyed when he finds out. From now on, you two can be together forever." Upon hearing this, the goddess of destiny's joyful face turned pale, and she shook her head, saying, "No, my memories are still suppressed deep within my will. I must have been stimulated to temporarily break free from the suppression of my will. The restoration of my memories requires the divine power of the reincarnation god." She recalled what Mu Qingsu had told her before she traveled back from 100 years in the future. The reincarnation god's great divine power can release the suppression of will. After you return to the past, don't offend the reincarnation god. Try to maintain a good relationship with her. Mu Qingsu didn't explain the background, but after giving her some instructions, she said this. At the time, she felt confused. Why would Mu Qingsu say this? Now, she understood. The ancestral empress was stunned. It still required a reincarnation god to advance to the star domain realm. The deity's eyelids trembled, and in her last moments, she spoke, "Ancestor Empress, please tell my husband that I am not dead. I was sealed deep within my will and am currently asleep. Strong stimulation can temporarily break through the suppression of will. The deity, that's me. I want to see him soon. So sleepy, I want to sleep. Goodbye. As she pondered, the voice from the bedroom disappeared. The deity's eyes slowly closed, and she collapsed to the ground, completely concealing her aura. The ancestor empress frowned, waved her hand to dispel the spatial cage, picked up the deity, and placed her on the long sofa. Looking at the deity's face, her expression was complex. The deity's sudden return of memories was due to a great shock. The sounds from the room had stimulated the deity's will, causing the memories and true self suppressed deep within to surface. After a moment of thought, the ancestor empress suddenly understood, reaching a conclusion. Half an hour later, the deity of fate slowly awoke, opening her eyes with a pure and sincere gaze, a stark contrast to the world-weary and resentful look in Gu Qingchang's obsessive form. How did I fall asleep? How did this kitchen knife end up in my hand? The ancestral empress stared at her strangely. Don't you remember what just happened? The deity of fate's expression twisted. Just now, didn't the deity of reincarnation cry out because she couldn't bear the pain? Huh? She's not crying out now. The ancestral empress sighed. This deity of fate was Gu Qingchang's obsessive form, who had completely lost her memories. She spoke with a complex expression. You picked up this cleaver yourself, intending to rush into the bedroom and chop up the god of reincarnation. Just now, you were stimulated and regained your memories. I saw what you looked like after regaining your memories. The god of destiny was stunned, incredulous. I just regained my memories? The primordial empress nodded. That's right. The current Chu is not complete. You are Gu Qingchang who has lost her memories. When you encounter certain things, your emotions become uncontrollable. You feel sadness and joy, all due to the memories suppressed deep within your will. Destiny, do you still want to regain your memories? The god of destiny pondered for a moment in astonishment, then nodded earnestly, a hint of expectation appearing in her beautiful eyes. Yes, my memories must be regained. I can feel that those memories are very important to me. The current me is indeed incomplete. I must regain my wholeness and become a complete god of destiny. After that embarrassing moaning sound stopped, no sound came from the bedroom. Inside the bedroom, the reincarnation goddess covered her face with her hands, groaning and moaning. She casually cast a barrier, blocking out the sounds. Ugh, this is so embarrassing. Will the empress laugh at me? Xiao Ye's forehead was covered in sweat. He was almost completely exhausted. This body-modifying massage was truly tiring. His supreme realm cultivation and mythical level body were barely holding on. The body modification began with the body itself as the seed. Starting with the jade feet, then the limbs, the torso, and finally the head, each part required thousands of stimulations of acupoints, followed by the use of secret techniques to subtly modify the reincarnation goddess's body. The slightest mistake would ruin everything. He needed to maintain intense concentration throughout, using his strongest supreme realm power, employing methods like kneading, pricking, rubbing, hitting, and hammering to gradually modify the body's structure. Now, he had completed the modification of the jade feet, limbs, and torso. The reincarnation goddess seemed to have been brutally ravaged, not a single second of the massage lasting without her moaning. Her mind was blank, her delicate face flushed, and steam practically billowing from her head. She muttered, "It's over. This body-modifying massage needs to be done everywhere. I'm already tainted. The human emperor probably knows every part of my body better than I do right now. From now on, I can only become the human emperor's wife. Otherwise, I can't live anymore." Xiao Ye used his life and wood attributes to recover some of his strength. He walked to the destiny goddess's head, seeing her vacant eyes and muttering something. He shook his hand, wiping away what he didn't know was whether his own sweat or the reincarnation goddess's sweat, and said wearily, "Reincarnation goddess, only the head is missing. The head is the most important part. It contains the spiritual sea and the will body. Let's hurry." The reincarnation goddess snapped out of her daze, seeing his exhaustion, his clothes and stray hairs soaked with sweat. She was deeply moved, her gaze fixed on the handsome face so close to hers. It seemed becoming the human emperor's wife wasn't so bad after all. Xiao Ye immediately got to work, beginning the final, arduous task. An hour later, he slumped into a chair, completely exhausted. He was utterly drained. The massage technique that transformed his body was truly exhausting. He closed his eyes, weakly saying, "Reincarnation God, your body transformation is complete. Success. You can try to break through. Now, you are no longer bound by the reincarnation rules source and blue star. Of course, you can still mobilize and use the reincarnation rules source. Chapter 593 Reincarnation God. From now on, I will be your wife. At this moment, he truly understood every aspect of the God of Fate, even more so than the God of Reincarnation. 120, 60, 100. Height 160. Which areas were sensitive zones, what skin color each area had, cherry blossom pink or black pangolin skin. How long the hair was, how many strands. White hair, blue eyes. The size of the internal organs, the location of blood vessels, the arrangement of nerves, the level of the spiritual sea, the strength of the soul. He could describe every detail clearly even with his toes. After all, the modified body was created by him using secret techniques based on the body of a god. The god of reincarnation's eyelashes fluttered slightly, and she opened her blue eyes. Huh? It's all better now. I was wondering why it didn't hurt anymore. She sat up with a jolt, her clear yet foolish eyes examining herself. At this moment, she could still sense the origin of the rules of reincarnation, and she could control the origin of the rules of reincarnation, but, however, the restrictions imposed on her by the origin of the rules of reincarnation, and the restrictions imposed on her by Blue Star, were all lifted. She is now based on her physical body, her will transformed into a soul, and the origin of the reincarnation rules has become a subordinate rather than the main body. The downside is that she is not immortal. The annihilation of her body and soul means complete death. The upside is that the limitations on her realm have been lifted, allowing her to advance and upgrade infinitely. Gods still die. I am now ahead of the gods. Those gods will be left far behind me, until they can no longer see me. She looked at herself, and after the initial surprise, the reincarnation goddess blushed again. Traces of the human emperor still remained on her body. She seemed to have already transformed into the form of the human emperor. Ugh, how embarrassing. The destiny goddess covered her face with her hands for a while, then suddenly blinked her large blue eyes and looked at Xiao Ye on the chair. Seeing his exhausted face, as if he were completely collapsed from exhaustion, she leaped to the ground, barefoot, and went to Xiao Ye's side, taking out her towel from her personal space. She blankly wiped the sweat from Xiao Ye's cheeks. Xiao Ye opened his eyes, surprised, and said, "Reincarnation God, you should quickly familiarize yourself with your body. Your body is completely different now. Also, can you put on some clothes? After all, men and women are different." The reincarnation god shook her head and muttered, "I've already familiarized myself with it. Human Emperor, from now on, I'm your wife. What do you mean by men and women are different? Anyway, you've already seen it all, touched it all, it's all the same everywhere. I'm dirty. You have to take responsibility for me, or I won't live." Her innocent blue eyes showed expectation, and her face looked pitiful. Xiao Ye was shocked, his lips twitching. "No, I was just giving you a massage, I didn't offend you. You're still a virgin. I'm dirty? How are you dirty? Don't be unreasonable." The goddess of fate bit her lower lip, her eyes full of stubbornness, and said coquettishly, "Oh, my queen taught me that being dirty doesn't necessarily mean being defiled. If a man sees my body, I will kill him, annihilate his soul, prevent him from reincarnation, and make him completely dead, or I'll marry him." Xiao Ye's lips twitched, speechless. "What kind of logic is that? I'm doing this to modify your body, not to see you naked. I said, you're still a virgin, you can find your own happiness in the future." He was a man of deep affection and a strong sense of responsibility, but he wasn't someone who would be blinded by lust. He couldn't just marry anyone. Besides, Bingzai and the others wouldn't agree. The goddess of fate pouted, somewhat aggrieved. But then, a sinister expression appeared on her small face, a ruthless glint flashing in her beautiful eyes. She sneered, "Human Emperor brother, you're implying you don't want to marry me, right? HMPH. Then I'll knock you out, and I'll give you your innocence later. After that, you can marry me, right?" Xiao Ye panicked. "Wait, sister? You really want to be my wife? I have 10 beast girls, that's enough." He. The reincarnation god chuckled sinisterly, raising her hand to deliver a chop to his neck. Seeing Xiao Ye faint, her blue eyes brightened. "Human Emperor brother, I'm so grateful to you. I want to repay you. But I don't know how to repay you, so I'll just offer myself to you. The universe is vast, marrying you is a win-win." She happily carried Xiao Ye into the bathroom in the bedroom. In the living room, the destiny god felt a pang of sadness again. The thought of the human emperor and the god of reincarnation alone in a room, even while undergoing body modification, made her instinctively uncontrollably uncomfortable. Seeing the pale face of the god of destiny, the primordial empress comforted her. Modifying a body that uses your own body as a seed will probably take a few more days. For us gods, that time will pass in the blink of an eye. Don't think so much, we'll just wait here. Once the god of reincarnation's body is modified, it will be enough to break free from the shackles of Blue Star and allow for rapid advancement. Over the past 500,000 years, I've accumulated a considerable amount of resources, enough for her to break through to the star domain realm in a short time. The god of destiny held the exquisite little box in both hands, her expression slightly better. The primordial empress sighed. She had indeed accumulated a considerable amount of resources, but those resources were only enough for one person to advance to the star domain realm and stabilize their realm. If it weren't for the limitations of Blue Star and the origin of the rules, she would have used them on herself long ago. But if the resources were given to the god of reincarnation, what would she, the primordial empress, do in the future? She would have to collect and gather them again. Alice, she hoped that these resources would earn her the human emperor's trust. Moreover, she hoped the human emperor could transform her body, making her a cosmic being with a body favored by the laws of the universe. The path of the gods is truly too difficult. She broke through to the peak of the third stage of the emperor realm over 10,000 years ago, yet after so much time, she had made no progress whatsoever. She could feel the limitations imposed by the very source of the special rules, and by Blue Star itself. As long as she remained a god, she was utterly bound to Blue Star. Her fate was intertwined with Blue Star's. She benefited from the source of the special rules, but was also bound by it. Blue Star was her strength, and Blue Star was her weakness. If Xiao Ye knew her inner thoughts, he might sigh, double pupils are an invincible path. Why borrow another supreme bone? Supreme bones, even a dog wouldn't bother with them. The ancestral empress's body was already a top-tier mythical talent. Why did she need the source of the special rules? Mythical level is a talent level possessed only by the direct descendants of major cosmic races. Top-tier mythical talent is enough to reach the pinnacle of the universe. But now, Xiao Ye is trapped. He regained consciousness, watching expressionlessly as the reincarnation god relentlessly tormented him. Imprisoned, he couldn't move an inch, only silently enduring the reincarnation god's storm of attacks. He silently closed his eyes. Since he couldn't resist, he wouldn't resist. He would just enjoy it. After a while, Xiao Ye regained his mobility. He and the reincarnation god, dressed neatly, sat on the balcony, silently watching each other. The reincarnation god felt extremely guilty under his gaze, his eyes darting away, pouting as he said, "Human emperor brother, please don't be angry anymore. I will fulfill my duties as a wife, do my responsibilities, and uphold my chastity. And I will support your growth from behind." Xiao Ye's dark pupils remained fixed on him, expressionless. The reincarnation god twirled his finger in circles. "Human emperor brother, little reincarnation knows he was wrong, so please forgive him. Just this once is enough. If I ever upset you again, just kick me hard, however you want. Little reincarnation is willing to accept the punishment." If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 594 Reincarnation, I'll make you give me a good review. Seeing the serious expression on the face of the reincarnation goddess, Xiao Ye fell silent. Although he had been forced into the push, he was fully conscious. He had been forced to take the reincarnation goddess's virginity, turning her into a real woman. This was the first time he had ever been forced into something like this. He didn't know if he should take responsibility. If he had taken the initiative, he certainly would, but he had been forced. Looking at Xiao Ye's serious face, the reincarnation goddess panicked and felt incredibly guilty. A pitiful look appeared on her face, and her eyes welled up with tears. "Brother Xiao Ye, say something. I won't make the same mistake again, please forgive me." Xiao Ye felt the reincarnation goddess was pretending, and he couldn't tell if her demeanor was genuine or feigned. He frowned and said, "Reincarnation god, you are a god. high above, living a carefree life? Why are you so determined to become my wife, to follow me? The primordial empress told you that after seeing your body, you must kill that person or marry that person. You clearly refused beforehand when I gave you a massage. I also explained beforehand that it was a full-body massage. So, you've wanted to become my wife for a long time, to marry me? Why? He couldn't understand. His current cultivation level was low, possessing only the title of human emperor. The reincarnation goddess's beautiful eyes shone with longing as she gazed at him with adoration, her voice crisp and clear, because you are the human emperor, you will lead Blue Star to rise. You are also a force of the universe, you will become its supreme being. Gods also admire strength, they are attracted to outstanding individuals. Besides, you saved my life. According to my queen sister, if you hadn't determined my and the 5 elements goddess's locations, she wouldn't have been able to find the desolate realm. The ruler of the desolate realm wouldn't have released us. The ruler who captured us isn't as easy to talk to as the one you encountered. After we entered the desolate realm, that ruler imprisoned us, saying we'd never leave. He was too bored, so he captured a few blue star beings to chat with. The reincarnation goddess's beautiful eyes flashed with terror. In that desolate realm, I couldn't sense the existence of the reincarnation rule's origin, nor could I sense the existence of Blue Star. My will is completely entrusted to this body. Being in prison for a lifetime is equivalent to suffering for a lifetime. It's worse than death. Xiao Ye pondered, his fingers lightly tapping the chair. Knock knock knock. He keenly grasped the key point in the reincarnation god's words and asked, "You said I am the cosmic power?" Xiao Ye was certain that he and his beast girls hadn't revealed this information on Blue Star. He only learned he was the cosmic power when Gu Qingcheng told him on Blue Star. More precisely, it was the future Gu Qingcheng who told him. The reincarnation god beamed, agreeing, "Brother Xiao Ye is the cosmic power." That's what the Time Empress said. Not only do we agree with her, but our queen sister also agrees. Our queen sister approached you wanting to become your protector, or perhaps your wife. However, given her proud nature, she probably wants to be your protector. Xiao Ye's lips twitched. The Time Empress, that meant the Time God. It was that woman who relayed the information. Xiao Ye said helplessly. The reincarnation goddess said I am the future of the universe, destined to become the supreme being of the universe. You believed her so readily? If she knows such incredible information, why hasn't she become the supreme being of the universe? You can't completely believe the Time Empress's words, you know. You said I'm the human emperor, that I possess imperial destiny, I admit that, but the future of the universe. We haven't even left the Milky Way galaxy, what a load of nonsense. The Milky Way galaxy, compared to the entire universe, is insignificant, like a drop of water falling into the Pacific Ocean, even smaller. The reincarnation goddess's face darkened, her teeth clenched tightly around her lower lip, tears welling in her eyes. She said pitifully, "Human emperor brother, you're saying all this, just because you don't want to marry me. You already have so many beast girls, what's wrong with marrying me? I won't compete with those beast girls for your favor." Xiao Ye stood up helplessly, pulled out a few tissues, and walked towards the reincarnation goddess. The reincarnation goddess's eyes lit up. "Brother Emperor, are you going to wipe her tears?" "Hey, that's great. Does this mean he's accepted her?" Xiao Ye flicked the tissue in her face and said calmly, "Handle it yourself. We'll be leaving soon, don't cause me any trouble. Whether I marry you or not depends on your performance." The reincarnation goddess was taken aback, feeling both disappointed and delighted, her expression complex. Judging from her performance, she still had a chance. But she had clearly given herself to the emperor. "Okay, brother emperor, little reincarnation will behave well." After a moment of silence, she said. But after removing the tissue from her eyes, her gaze turned surprised as she saw Xiao Ye holding scissors, cutting something on the bedsheet. Upon closer inspection, her face flushed red. He was actually cutting a heart, and in the center of the heart was a bright red plum blossom. These plum blossoms, they're hers. Why, brother emperor still cares about reincarnation, I'm so touched. Reincarnation will definitely perform well and make brother emperor satisfied. Tears streamed down the face of the reincarnation goddess. Finally, she saw Xiao Ye cut out the heart, take out a delicate little box, put the heart inside, and gently close it. The words reincarnation were engraved on the box's surface. He then put the box away. Xiao Ye felt a burning gaze on him and turned to look. He saw the reincarnation goddess staring intently at him, crying like a little kitten, but her face was full of smiles. That smile was so strange. Xiao Ye said somewhat awkwardly, "You didn't see anything, I didn't do anything. Okay, don't cry. If you cry again, I'll give you a bad review, you performed poorly." Ugh. The reincarnation goddess quickly closed her eyes, feeling sweet inside. She took a tissue and wiped her face haphazardly, drying all her tears. "Reincarnation won't let you down, human emperor. Reincarnation will give you a good review," she said solemnly, her expression serious. The two tidied up the room and went out to the living room. They saw two stunningly beautiful women sitting on the sofa. The ancestral queen and the god of destiny stood up, both delighted, saying, "Human emperor, you're done in just half a day? God of reincarnation, is your body modification complete?" The god of reincarnation nodded. "Human emperor, you're very fast. You finished in no time. I am no longer a god. I am a cosmic being, using my body as a seed for small reincarnation." The ancestral queen and the god of destiny leaned closer, carefully examining the god of reincarnation's body from head to toe, even touching and pinching it. The ancestral queen gasped, incredulously saying, "Hiss. Reincarnation, you've really changed. From a girl, you've become a real woman." Xiao Ye's eyes widened. They noticed that already? Chapter 595 Empress, Reincarnation, Find a Partner. The primordial queen asked in surprise, "Reincarnation, you've lost your virginity? When did this happen? Who's your partner?" The eye of destiny glanced at Xiao Ye. Xiao Ye whistled, acting as if it were none of his business. The god of reincarnation exclaimed, "Oh dear, why are you saying this? I don't have a partner. Who in this world could be my partner? I was just being careless. HMPH, don't mention it again, it's so embarrassing." The primordial queen's lips twitched. So it was the god of reincarnation who had caused this. She said earnestly, "Reincarnation, it's fine if you have these desires, but you must control yourself. Lust is a double-edged sword. It's best to find a partner." The god of reincarnation stared blankly at Xiao Ye for a few moments, then quickly looked away, saying, all right, I know. Empress, I'm 200,000 years old, not a child anymore. I understand." Xiao Ye's expression was strange. 200,000 years old? The emperor is only 10,000 years old, but the god of reincarnation is 200,000 years old. Is this considered an extremely ancient spinster? I heard that the first empress was over 500,000 years old. The god of destiny sensed something was wrong with reincarnation, but couldn't quite put his finger on it. She changed the subject, saying, "Reincarnation, your previous body was like a pure kettle, a kettle solely for holding the will of a god. But now, this kettle has become a true living being. Can your will still detach from your body and return to the original source of the rules of reincarnation?" The reincarnation god shook his head. "Right now, I cannot say it's a will. During the human emperor's transformation, my will became a soul, perfectly suited to the transformed body. I can have my soul leave my body, and I can communicate with and control the source of the rules of reincarnation. But I can no longer merge with the source of the rules of reincarnation. Before, even when my body was destroyed, my will had the energy supply of the source of the rules of reincarnation, making me immortal. But now, my soul has no connection to the source of the rules of reincarnation. If I die, I'm truly dead." The destiny god nodded, not feeling it was a bad thing, and said, "Gods also die. Their will can also be erased. Besides the human emperor being able to erase the will of a god, cosmic beings of higher rank than us can also erase the will of a god. The time God can erase our will. Life and death depends on one's own cultivation level. The fundamental rules are no longer a guarantee of immortality." The reincarnation god raised its head proudly. So I'm ahead of the Empress now. I can infinitely increase my cultivation level without limit, while the Empress is still bound by Blue Star and restricted by the fundamental rules of space. The primordial Empress nodded, somewhat envious. "Yes, you're ahead of us. Human Emperor, if you have time in the future, could you modify my body?" Xiao Ye hurriedly waved his hand upon hearing this. The reincarnation god wanted to marry him after he modified his body. What about the primordial Empress? Would she have the same idea? He only wanted to quickly restore the destiny god's memories, other matters could wait. Things had priorities, and restoring memories was clearly the most important. The memories of the deity of fate haven't returned yet, and modifying my body is very exhausting. I was already completely drained just now. I will modify your body after the deity of fate's memories return. Empress, you have helped me so much, I will certainly grant your first request," he said very seriously. The ancestral empress smiled, like a blooming flower, radiant and dazzling. "Good. It's just a little time, it will pass in the blink of an eye. As long as the human emperor is willing to modify my body, that is enough." At this moment, she completely felt that Xiao Ye had lowered his guard towards her. Perhaps his trust wasn't very high, but at least there was a certain degree of trust. The ancestral empress said with some shame, "Human emperor, actually, I haven't helped you much. Back then, when I wanted to kill Lu Yangdingshan to save you, my body was imprisoned by the obsessive body Gu Qingcheng, unable to move and unable to save you. Even merging with the obsessive body Gu Qingcheng's will didn't help you. Finding the reincarnation goddess was my duty, and besides, I couldn't even find her spatial coordinates. It was you who found her location. These things, one by one, you accomplished on your own, human emperor. In terms of helping, I estimate I only helped you reclaim the original body of the destiny rule, that's all." The reincarnation goddess's beautiful eyes widened. So, even her empress sister couldn't help. How could she, this little weakling, possibly perform well? There were many things even her empress sister couldn't do. What was she to do? Xiao Ye shook his head. "It's nothing. Helping me reclaim the original essence of the rules of destiny is enough. I'll handle the rest myself." The reincarnation god's current realm is only the first stage of the emperor realm at its peak. To use great divine powers to restore the destiny god's memories, his realm must break through to the star domain realm, which is above the emperor realm. He still has many things to do. Finding resources for a breakthrough is the most important thing. Upon hearing about the obsession body Gu Qingcheng, the destiny god's ears perked up, her beautiful eyes filled with curiosity. She already knew that the obsession body Gu Qingcheng was her predecessor. She was now the obsession body Gu Qingcheng who had lost her memories. The ancestral empress spoke, "Human emperor, there is something very important I need to tell you about the obsessive body, Gu Qingcheng. I just saw her." Xiao Ye's pupils contracted, his breathing becoming rapid. "I saw her. Where is she? Did she come from the future? Or from the past?" The ancestral empress shook her head. "The obsessive body, Gu Qingcheng, is right before my eyes. She is the goddess of destiny. When you were modifying the body of the god of reincarnation, the god of reincarnation made indescribable sounds, stimulating something suppressed deep within the goddess of destiny's will. The goddess of destiny suddenly regained her memories, and she's even holding this kitchen knife, wanting to go in and kill someone." The goddess of reincarnation blushed deeply. She'd actually been heard. How embarrassing. The goddess of destiny's beautiful eyes widened. She just regained her memories? Then why didn't she remember anything? Xiao Ye gasped. Holding a kitchen knife, wanting to go in and kill him? He almost became the second brother Cheng? The ancestral empress smiled. The obsessive-bound Gu Qingcheng is holding a kitchen knife, wanting to go in and chop up the reincarnation god. She's cursing the reincarnation god for having no bottom line, casually seducing other people's husbands. Xiao Ye breathed a sigh of relief, at least she wasn't going to chop him up. The reincarnation god pouted in dissatisfaction. The ancestral empress continued, "The obsessive-bound Gu Qingcheng wants to tell you that she misses you and wants to see you soon. She says that the way the destiny god regains her memories is to have the reincarnation god advance to the star domain realm and use the great divine power of reincarnation to restore the memories suppressed deep within her will. After the destiny god receives a strong stimulus, the obsessive-bound Gu Qingcheng's memories will break through the seal deep within her will, allowing the destiny god to regain her memories, but it will be temporary." A bitter smile appeared on Xiao Ye's lips. The obsessive-bound Gu Qingcheng missed him, and he missed the obsessive-bound Gu Qingcheng too. The primordial empress stared intently at Xiao Ye, her eyes shining brightly. She said with delight, "Human emperor, don't be impatient. Over the years, I've accumulated a wealth of resources, I can use them all. Enough for the reincarnation god to quickly break through to the star domain realm. I can help with the reincarnation god's advancement and the restoration of the destiny god's memories." Chapter 596 The resources are being targeted. Upon hearing this, Xiao Ye, the god of reincarnation, and the god of destiny were stunned. The resources needed to break through from the emperor realm to the star domain realm were unimaginable and indescribable. The ancestral empress was actually willing to give them away. What courage, what vision! The god of reincarnation was anxious. Sister Empress, your resources should only be enough for you to break through to the star domain realm, right? What will you do if you give them to little reincarnation? They had discussed this before when soaking in the spiritual spring. The ancestral empress chuckled, it's alright, if we run out of resources, we can keep looking. But we only have one star domain realm expert on Blue Star. Your breakthrough to the star domain realm will be extremely beneficial to us. The neighboring White Horse star system has plenty of resources. The reincarnation god's bright eyes lit up, and he said with a sly grin, Sister Empress, are you saying that after I break through to the star domain realm, I'll rob all the resources from the White Horse star system? Good, good. Robbery is little reincarnation's specialty. The ancestral empress's face darkened. That's called taking, not robbing. How can matters between gods be called robbing? You're probably sick, developing some strange attribute. Xiao Ye looked at him with a complicated expression. He was somewhat moved. Although the resources weren't used on their own people, but on the reincarnation god, the ancestral empress was willing to give up most of her own resources. This favor was heavy and difficult to repay. Suddenly, the ancestral empress's expression changed, turning grim and radiating a chilling aura. Her voice was icy as she said, how dare you trespass into my wanton void space and steal my collected resources? You're courting death. A god from the Five Elements Divine Alliance, huh? Xiao Ye was slightly startled. Steal your resources? Your Majesty, take us with you. Not a single god from the Five Elements Divine Alliance will escape, they will all die. Her bronze palace could forcibly capture any being below the third stage of the Emperor realm, including gods. Once inside the bronze palace, any being at the third stage of the Emperor realm would be punished, their realm sealed, and their will imprisoned. The god of destiny and the god of reincarnation's expressions changed. The ancestral empress had just been about to take out her resources, and someone dared to steal them? How dare they? The group passed through the blue light gate and exited the bronze palace. The ancestral empress waved her hand, and everyone disappeared. In an endless void, there existed a wanton energy body. At this moment, numerous gods surrounded the wanton energy body. 6 male deities, the wind deity, the ice deity, the life deity, the death deity, the supreme deity, and the charm deity, burst into a frenzy, their eyes blazing with fervor as they laughed maniacally. Ha ha ha, this must be the storage space left behind by the thunder god. Exactly. The thunder god mentioned this storage space node before he died. This must have been left by the thunder god. Before his death, we couldn't take it, but now that he's dead, it's unclaimed property. Let's divide it equally. Divide it equally? Fine. We're all gods of the same faction, there are good things inside. If the thunder god were still alive, he'd probably be cursing furiously. This wasn't his at all. It belonged to the primordial queen. The 6 deities unleashed their divine powers, bombarding the chaotic energy cluster, attempting to create an opening to escape into it. Gale ruled divine power, ice ruled divine power, life and death ruled divine power, supreme ruled divine power. 6 rules shone brightly in this void. Each divine power capable of sinking a continent bombarded the chaotic energy cluster. The void itself cracked, and massive spatial turbulence raged. But after the phenomena subsided, the 6 gods were dumbfounded. The chaotic energy cluster was completely intact, without a single breach. The supreme rule god frowned. Is this chaotic energy cluster truly the thunder gods? Although we are all gods at the second stage of the Emperor realm, the combined power of so many divine powers is comparable to an ordinary third stage Emperor realm expert. The wind god pondered, but the thunder god did tell us these special coordinates. If it's not his, whose is it? The enchantress god analyzed. Perhaps he found the chaotic energy cluster from an outer star system. Let's contact the 5 elements god. He's the only third stage Emperor realm expert in our camp. With his intervention, he can definitely break through this chaotic energy cluster and create an opening. Hearing this, the gods immediately made contact. Upon seeing the message, the 5 elements gods in the outer galaxy nearly jumped out of their skins. They hurriedly replied, that's the primordial queen's storage space. Leave immediately. Don't even think about coveting it. Otherwise, you won't even know how you died. They clearly remembered that the human brat seemed to have a good relationship with the primordial queen. If they angered the primordial queen, none of the gods in their 5 elements faction would survive. If they all died, Their five elements faction would be completely isolated. What? The 6 gods present were all startled and dumbfounded upon seeing the message. Go. 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 Get out of here quickly. I've never been here before. I don't know anything. Quickly erase all traces and escape. Damn Thunder God, even in death he's trying to harm us. He deserves to die. They instinctively erased any traces of their divine powers and cleared away the miscellaneous rules and power in the endless void. They were terrified that the Primordial Queen would find out they had been there. They had all been beaten by the Primordial Queen. Although they weren't dead, the experience was truly unpleasant. Who could have known that thinking they had found a treasure would result in touching a taboo? After erasing the traces of the rules, they glanced at each other and were about to flee. But the 6 gods discovered that all of their divine bodies were imprisoned, unable to move an inch. The 6 gods were horrified. The Primordial Queen, it must be the Primordial Queen. Damn it, Thunder God, you've ruined us. Damn Thunder God, even in death you're still trying to harm us. Their faces turned pale as they cursed. Clap clap clap. The Primordial Queen appeared, clapping her hands and saying in a suppressed voice, You really have guts? You dare to covet my things? Are you tired of living? Since you're all here, then stay here. She stood there, her voice not loud, but it resounded throughout the endless void. Terrification flashed in the eyes of the 6 gods. Ancestor of space, please listen to me, we didn't take anything from you. That's right, we were just passing by, yes. Just passing by, we know nothing. Ancestor of space, if you destroy our bodies, the star battlefield will lose half of its aid, please reconsider. Hearing this, the Ancestor Empress frowned. What these gods said was true, the atmosphere on the star battlefield was very tense, with frequent wars breaking out in the White Horse Galaxy. If 6 or 7 gods were to be lost at once, the Milky Way's fighting strength would be reduced by more than half. Xiao Ye waved his hand, his face grim, and said, Your Majesty, I will kill these gods. Anyone related to the 5 elements gods must die. As for the star battlefield, all beings below the 3rd stage of the Emperor realm will be dealt with by me. He summoned a black gold bronze palace and activated the function of forcibly capturing living beings. Chapter 597 The First Empress in Maid Outfit. The Primordial Empress observed the situation calmly. After receiving the command, the bronze palace released a massive golden chain, which transformed into a fishing net. It blanketed the 6 gods. The 6 gods sneered, a treasure for capturing? Trash. We are gods. This kind of treasure is ineffective against us. Trying to kill us? Too naive? Gods are eternal and indestructible. We're not like those 2 unlucky souls, the Thunder God and the Illusion God, who encountered a supreme being. Ha ha ha, we fear the Primordial Empress, but this brat, he. Xiao Ye remained calm, his heart unmoved. But the Primordial Empress's expression changed. Her special confinement was completely annihilated beneath the golden fishing net. This golden fishing net possessed the same rank as her. The 6 gods also sensed something amiss. Their mocking words were still on their lips, but their expressions froze. Their bodies, covered by the net, had their wills banished, yet they remained within the net. They could only watch helplessly as their bodies were captured. The 6 gods were shocked. Impossible, absolutely impossible. What level of treasure is this? Even we can't resist it. Are we gods, or is he a god? This is bad, this is tough, let's run. Run my ass. Our wills are also imprisoned by the golden net. They were horrified. It could even imprison their wills. This was something even the Primordial Queen couldn't do. A look of surprise flashed in the Primordial Queen's eyes as she gave Xiao Ye a deep look. The human emperor, though of lower cultivation level, possessed a multitude of methods, each one beyond what she, the Primordial Queen, could achieve. This showed that the human emperor's rank was far higher than hers as queen. Xiao Ye was somewhat regretful and speechless. It can only capture the body, not the will. The level of the bronze palace is still too low. The Primordial Queen. The 6 gods. Damn it, even this kind of treasure is low level? Does this mean gods have no freedom of movement? The eyes of the reincarnation god lit up. Was this the true face of the human emperor? So handsome. The destiny god pursed her red lips, a sense of pride welling up within her. She was actually proud of the human emperor. The wills of the 6 gods were captured by the golden net. They realized they had kicked a hornet's nest, and pleaded, Young man, we haven't offended you, have we? Please let us leave. We didn't take anything from the Ancestral Empress's treasures. There's no need to target us like this. Ancestral Empress, you don't want the Starry Sky battlefield to be without aid, do you? The Ancestral Empress said softly. Human Emperor, do you really want to kill them? The Starry Sky battlefield needs these gods. Xiao Ye said calmly, it's alright. I will personally handle the Starry Sky battlefield. He immediately activated the will adjuster, initiating the function of obliterating wills. Boom! A supreme power appeared out of thin air, descending upon the golden net. An incredibly agonizing wail emanated from the golden fishing net, echoing throughout the endless void. This pig-like scream sent chills down the spines of anyone who heard it, making their hair stand on end. The god of reincarnation covered his ears. The god of destiny averted his gaze. The primordial queen, however, watched calmly, directly confronting the will of the wailing god. 2 seconds later, within the golden fishing net, there was no longer any will. Throughout the endless void of Blue Star, the 5 fundamental sources of rules, the wind rule, the life rule, the death rule, the allure rule, and the supreme rule, seemed to have been freed from their restraints. From their deathly stillness, they became active. The 5 restrained fundamental sources of rules began to instinctively release their own power, benefiting Blue Star. Gods, however, would completely restrain their fundamental sources of rules, preventing them from leaking out and preserving their strength. Therefore, these fundamental sources of rules had little effect on Blue Star. Once a deity dies, the fundamental rules will instinctively operate, communicating with Blue Star according to certain rules and reflecting its own power of rules. After receiving the information from the will adjuster, Xiao Ye frowned and said, there's still one deity's will that hasn't been erased. The ice deity hasn't fully entrusted its will to its body. The 5 elements deity is the same. The Ancestral Empress smiled. There are only 2 deities in the 5 elements camp now. The 5 elements and the wind. Human Emperor, do you intend to erase the wills of all the deities in the 5 elements camp? Xiao Ye replied, that's right. Blue Star's deities shouldn't exist in 2 camps. On Blue Star, they should be of one mind and one heart, united against external threats, standing on the same side. The situation on the interstellar battlefield is tense. Blue Star is still engaged in internal strife. Is that acceptable? The Ancestral Empress was filled with awe. She had considered this before, but she lacked the ability to unite all the deities of Blue Star. But the Human Emperor could do it. The Human Emperor had that ability. Was this the Human Emperor who led Blue Star to rise? This person's status is indeed much higher than hers, the Empress. At this moment, Xiao Ye's realm automatically rose from Supreme Level 1 to Supreme Level 2. It must be Mu Kingsa who broke through. The Ancestral Empress unsealed the Chaos Energy Cluster and said, Reincarnation God, take this storage space. What's inside are all the resources I collected in the past, enough for you to break through to the Star Domain realm. Oh, wait a moment, I have a few clothes and some personal items to take out. She waved her hand. Some things were taken out from the Chaos Energy Cluster. Xiao Ye's eyes widened. Lace panties, nylon stockings, white stockings, fishnet stockings, and a maid outfit. He gasped. The Ancestral Empress would wear these clothes? Isn't she the Empress, high above, the Commander-in-Chief of the Starry Sky battlefield, majestic and holy? How could she wear such vulgar clothes? Noticing Xiao Ye's expression, the Primordial Queen blushed slightly, a rare occurrence for her, and subconsciously explained, I've never worn any of these. I just saw that wearing these things excites men, so I got a few to try. Human Emperor, I'll wear them for you when I have time. Xiao Ye? What? What is the Queen saying? Who is she wearing them for? The Primordial Queen hurriedly put the items away. The Reincarnation God was extremely surprised. Did the Queen mean that she wasn't going to be the Human Emperor's protector? Was she going to be his wife? But why? With her proud nature, why would the Queen be willing to submit to a man? The Reincarnation God collected the chaotic energy ball and said earnestly, Empress sister, Human Emperor brother. Little Reincarnation will cultivate diligently and strive to advance to the Star Domain realm as soon as possible to help the Destiny God recover his memories. Xiao Ye nodded and said, I have a time-space palace. It has a time difference with the outside world, currently reaching a maximum of 1,000 to 1. 3 years inside is equivalent to 1 day outside. Reincarnation God, you will enter the time-space palace to cultivate. The time-space palace is quite special. I will grant you access, allowing you to contact the origin of the reincarnation rules of Blue Star within. Previously, I adjusted the time difference to 100 to 1 day, but from this moment on, it will be adjusted to the highest ratio. Upon speaking, he immediately issued an order to the Time-Space Palace. The time difference was adjusted to 1000 to 1. Chapter 598 A time difference of 1 million to 1. 1 day outside is equivalent to 3 years inside. This time difference allows Chen Bingxi and her companions to cultivate at an unprecedented speed, unparalleled in history. Breaking through to the Saint Realm in 1 day, and to the Quasi-Saint Realm in 2 months, is likely not a problem. Detected hosts need to increase the time difference in the Time-Space Palace. Time-Space Palace time difference increase requirements display. The Time-Space Palace is a complete nascent universe, containing countless complete rule origins of various levels, including Emperor Realm rule origins, Star Domain Realm rule origins, Dominator Realm rule origins, etc. The increase in time difference depends on the host's realm. The higher the host's realm, the greater the available time difference. Great Venerable Realm, time difference is 100, 1. Supreme Realm, time difference is 1000, 1. Saint Realm, time difference is 100,000, 1. Emperor Realm, time difference is 1000, 1. As the host's realm increases, the size of the Time-Space Palace will also increase. Xiao Ye received the information and was overjoyed. It turned out that the Time-Space Palace was a complete nascent universe, a continental universe with a magnificent and boundless continent. However, the area of the continent and the volume of the Time-Space Palace are related to his cultivation level, increasing as his cultivation level rises. In summary, his need for a higher cultivation level is becoming increasingly strong. Xiao Ye asked in his mind, "System, within the Time-Space Palace, is it possible to communicate with the source of rules and advance to the Emperor Realm?" Yes, all the source of rules of various levels within the Time-Space Palace are in their nascent and complete forms. As long as the host has sufficient resources, they can continuously break through, with no upper limit to their cultivation level. The Time-Space Palace is of a higher level than the host's universe. The host need not worry about resources. The host only needs to awaken the various levels of source of rules that are currently dormant. The infinite continent of the Time-Space Palace will be bathed in the power of source rules of various levels, becoming a truly complete universe, giving birth to living beings, spiritual treasures, supreme treasures, rule treasures, great AO artifacts, and everything else. Xiao Ye nodded, understanding. Currently, the Time-Space Palace only has a basic continent with plants. But there are no living beings, no spiritual fruits, no energy. It's like an empty, alien space-time. It turned out that the origin of the rules was dormant, slumbering, unlike the origin of rules on Blue Star, which illuminated the world and bathed it in the power of rules. He needed to awaken it. How do I awaken it? He asked eagerly. If the Time-Space Palace could truly become like the universe, with 100 flowers blooming and 100 schools of thought contending, would resources still be scarce? To awaken the origin of the rules, an Emperor Realm expert must be born in the Time-Space Palace. To awaken the origin of the Great Dao rules, a Great Dao expert must be born in the Time-Space Palace, or being capable of resonating with the origin of the Great Dao rules must be found to initially awaken various Great Dao rule origins and bless the infinite continent of the Time-Space Palace. A look of shock flashed in Xiao Ye's eyes. This didn't sound difficult. He pondered for a long time before coming back to his senses. The primordial empress inquired, "Reincarnation God, how long will it take you to advance to the Star Domain Realm?" The stunning reincarnation god fidgeted with her slender white fingers, then stammered, 10,000 years, 30,000 years, or 50,000 years? I'm not sure. Blue Star doesn't have a high-level reincarnation rule origin. I can only sense the faint Star Domain Realm reincarnation rule power of the universe. A smile appeared on the primordial empress's face. It's just 30,000 years. It'll pass quickly. I've been stuck at the peak of the Emperor Realm for 15,000 years. This time will pass in the blink of an eye. The Destiny God nodded in agreement. For gods, time had lost its meaning. 30,000 years sounded like a long time, but for a god's long and eternal life, it was just a fleeting moment. Upon hearing this, Xiao Ye's face turned ashen, and he blurted out, "No way. 30,000 years? Are you kidding me? You can afford to wait, but I can't." No wonder you weren't surprised when I said the Time-Space Palace had a time difference of 1000 to 1. So time is completely unimportant to you. Little reincarnation, if you want a good review, you must break through to the star domain realm within a month, or I'll give you a bad review? Several question marks appeared above the beautiful reincarnation goddess's head, her cherry-like lips twitching. She wailed, "Human Emperor brother, if you want to give me a bad review, just say so. You don't have to torture reincarnation like this. A month? It takes me longer than that to soak in a spiritual spring and take a piss." Xiao Ye fell silent. 30,000 years was too long, he couldn't wait that long. Let alone 100,000 years, he didn't even want to wait a month. The goddess of destiny had to recover her memories quickly, the sooner the better. The primordial empress couldn't help but say, "Human Emperor, a month is a bit too much for reincarnation. Even if the god of reincarnation cultivates day and night, squeezing every last drop of time out of her, she still can't break through to the star domain realm in a month." The god of destiny nodded. Reaching the emperor realm requires at least 30 years to break through each minor realm. The second stage of the emperor realm, even with mythical level aptitude, requires at least 300 years to break through a minor realm. The third stage of the emperor realm requires at least 3,000 years to break through a minor realm. Each stage has 10 levels. Breaking through to the star domain realm, even at its most intensive, would require at least 35,000 years. This is under the condition of not resting for a single second, abundant external resources, and no bottlenecks in breaking through realms. This is under the condition of peak cultivation speed. Under normal cultivation speed, this time would double, or at least triple. Xiao Ye chuckled, "It's alright. Once I reach the Emperor realm, the time difference between the time-space palace and Blue Star will reach 1,000,000 to 1. 1,000,000 days inside, only 1 day outside." Hiss. The ancestral empress, the god of destiny, and the god of reincarnation all gasped. The three gods were shocked. 1,000,000 to 1? That's outrageous. After Xiao Ye's explanation, they realized the importance of time. A time difference of 1,000 to 1 might be insignificant. But 1,000,000 to 1, even for them as gods, was something to be taken seriously. Xiao Ye waved his hand, and a golden portal appeared. He said, "Everyone, follow me into the time-space palace." The ancestral empress, the god of destiny, and the god of reincarnation followed Xiao Ye into the palace, their figures disappearing from sight. In the great world of the time-space palace, the three gods and Xiao Ye appeared high in the sky. The primordial queen was somewhat surprised. The area of this world is comparable to the Milky Way. However, it's too empty, there's nothing there, no brilliance or prosperity like the Milky Way. Xiao Ye smiled. Right now, its area is comparable to the Milky Way, later, it will be comparable to a star field, comparable to the universe. It's alright, reincarnation god, sense it carefully. See if you can sense the existence of the reincarnation rule origin and the starfield realm rule power within this great world. Rules, the origin of rules, are also divided into levels. The most basic is the rule origin of Blue Star, the lowest level of rule origin. Emperor realm rule origin. Above that is the starfield realm rule origin. Layer upon layer, and finally, the Great Deo rule origin. Chapter 599 Forming a contract with a god of reincarnation. The reincarnation goddess sensed something, her bright eyes suddenly lighting up like a ravenous beast, releasing a fiery red light. She exclaimed excitedly, "Brother human emperor, I sense 2 levels of rules, emperor realm rules and star domain realm rules. And very vague, indistinct dominator realm rules. This great world is a treasure trove." The stunningly beautiful reincarnation goddess rubbed her hands together lewdly, her cherry red lips licking her lips, her eyes shining. The primordial empress and the god of destiny also sensed the power of the emperor realm and star domain realm rules in this great world. The god of destiny remained relatively calm. But the primordial empress was extremely excited. She had a premonition that in this great world, she could break through to the star domain realm within 100 years. The star domain realm of the divine path. Xiao Ye smiled and said, "Very good. Using one's body as a seed, the cultivation method for cosmic beings is very suitable for the hall of time and space. The path of gods, even if you advance to the star domain realm, it will only be the star domain realm of the hall of time and space," he continued. "You cannot unleash your full combat power in the universe of Blue Star. The hall of time and space and the outside universe are 2 different time spaces, 2 different universes." The ancestral empress seemed to have been doused with cold water. "Yes, The star domain realm of this great world is not the star domain realm of the universe where Blue Star is located. They are two completely isolated great worlds. Even if there is a passage for entry and exit, one cannot unleash true star domain realm combat power in the outside world. She still needs to request the human emperor to modify her body and follow the path of cosmic beings cultivation. At this moment, a message came from the Hall of Time and Space. Master, an external being is attempting to awaken the original body of the rules of reincarnation and the Space Emperor realm. Should you stop it? Xiao Ye stroked his chin, pondering for a moment. The Hall of Time and Space was his private property. The various levels of the rules origins within the Temple of Time and Space must be one of their own to be allowed control. The reincarnation gods could barely be considered half one of their own. The primordial empress was an outsider. He immediately issued the order, prevent the awakening of the Space Emperor Realm Rule Origin's true form. The awakening of the Reincarnation Emperor Realm Rule Origin's true form is permitted, received. The connection to the awakening of the Space Emperor Realm Rule Origin and the Star Domain Realm Rules has been severed. In an instant, the primordial empress was dumbfounded. Just now she could sense the special rules of this great world, but now she couldn't perceive any special rules at all. Xiao Ye glanced at her but didn't explain. The primordial empress was trustworthy, but only to that extent. A message came from the Temple of Time and Space. The origin of the Emperor Realm Reincarnation Rules has been awakened. The Temple of Time and Space has opened reincarnation. The reincarnation controller can control the reincarnation of those who reincarnate, including their type of rebirth and all other procedures. As the controller of the Temple of Time and Space, the Master's authority is higher than that of the reincarnation controller. The Master can control the reincarnation of the reincarnation controller, and can use all the abilities of the reincarnation controller, limited to within the Temple of Time and Space. The reincarnation goddess suddenly exclaimed excitedly, "Brother Human Emperor, can I control the origin of the Emperor Realm Reincarnation Rules of this world? If possible, I can break through to the peak of the Emperor Realm in a very short time. Then I can communicate with the Star Domain Realm Reincarnation Rules of this great world and quickly advance to the Star Domain Realm." Xiao Ye asked, "How long will it take?" The reincarnation goddess counted on her slender white fingers. "At the fastest, within 30,000 years. I guarantee it." She patted her high, firm chest, causing it to sway. Ding. System notification detected that the host has encountered an event. The host can sign a contract with a reincarnation god and merge with it to become the reincarnation controller. The template adjuster's body, which is based on the host's cosmic being, is customized. Signing a contract with a blue star boy or a young boy is similar to transforming into a ferocious beast. After signing the contract, the host will enjoy the feedback from the reincarnation god's realm advancement. Xiao Ye's eyes widened upon hearing this, and he couldn't suppress the smile on his face, grinning from ear to ear. After signing a contract with a reincarnation god and receiving feedback from the level up, his realm would rise rapidly. He was overjoyed for a while. The reincarnation goddess poked Xiao Ye's cheek with her slender fingers, pouting and muttering, "Human Emperor brother, is it okay? Can I control the origin of the Emperor-level reincarnation rules of this great world?" Xiao Ye grasped her soft, boneless hand, squeezed it, and said, "I have a condition. You must sign a contract with me. There's a mechanism for using one's body as a seed. You should be able to sense it. After signing the contract, we can merge and transform into reincarnation controllers, just like how humans on Earth transform into ferocious beasts. Reincarnation, do you want to form a contract with me?" The reincarnation goddess's face flushed red instantly, turning into a ripe apple. She said shyly, "Signing a contract, I know. It's like a marriage contract for humans. Human Emperor brother, of course I want to form a contract with you, but after we do, I'll become your wife. Didn't you say you'd only give me a good review based on my performance?" The ancestral empress's pupils contracted. "Wife?" The reincarnation goddess actually discussed this with a human emperor. Good heavens! The empress has spent far more time with a human emperor than the reincarnation goddess, yet there's been absolutely no progress. The reincarnation goddess has barely met the human emperor for half a day, and she's already becoming his wife. Hearing the word wife, the deity goddess felt as if her heart was being squeezed tightly, her breathing becoming difficult and extremely uncomfortable. The deity goddess was shocked. Was her heart resisting the reincarnation goddess becoming the human emperor's wife? But the reincarnation goddess wanted to help her regain her memories. Endure it for now. Temporary discomfort is nothing to worry about. Once the reincarnation goddess advances to the star domain realm and regains her memories, she won't feel this way anymore. The deity goddess hurriedly took out the exquisite little box, held it tightly to her chest, and the pain in her heart lessened considerably, making her feel much better. Xiao Ye raised an eyebrow, somewhat embarrassed, and said, "I'm very satisfied with your performance. Most importantly, you've given me your virginity, and I'm responsible for it. My evaluation of you is excellent." The ancestral empress's lips twitched. So that's why the reincarnation goddess lost her virginity. It was the human emperor's doing. But the human emperor said he'd take responsibility? A glint flashed in the ancestral empress's eyes. Should she do the same, making the human emperor responsible in one fell swoop? This was a shortcut to becoming the human emperor's wife. The stunningly beautiful reincarnation goddess beamed, hugged Xiao Ye, puckered her lips, and gave him a kiss, grinning, "Excellent. I actually got an excellent review so quickly. Then, human emperor brother, let's form a contract now." Xiao Ye nodded. A mysterious link emanated from the two of them, merging together. A strange connection formed between them. The contract was successfully formed. The reincarnation goddess's face was full of joy, her eyes crinkling into crescent moons, making her incredibly beautiful. Xiao Ye put her down and smiled. "Go, find the original body of the Emperor Realm's rules, control it, and raise your realm. As long as you're confident in awakening and controlling the various levels of the reincarnation rule origins in this world, you can take them all. You only need to quickly raise your realm, don't think about anything else." The reincarnation god nodded, turning back every 3 steps with some reluctance in his eyes, before finally flying away, traversing towards the corner of the great world. Chapter 600, Removing the Armor. Removing the armor. Xiao Ye's gaze was deep, and the reincarnation god gradually blurred in his vision until it disappeared. 30,000 years to break through to the star domain realm. He could wait. He used to think this time was a long time, but now, it seemed short. The time difference between the time-space palace and the outside world was related to his own realm. As long as he advanced to the Saint realm, the time difference could be adjusted to 1 in 10,000. Here, 280 years was equivalent to 1 day on the outside world. If his realm advanced to the Emperor realm, the time difference could be adjusted to 1 in a million. 3,000 years in the Great World was equivalent to 1 day outside. He had signed a contract with a reincarnation god and could receive cultivation feedback, allowing him to advance to the Saint realm and Emperor realm at the fastest speed. If he advanced to the Emperor realm, 30,000 years in the time-space palace Great World would only be 10 days outside. The reincarnation god was currently at the first stage of the Emperor realm, the surface-level perfection, just 1 step away from entering the second stage of the Emperor realm, the planetary level. With this breakthrough realm feedback, how many realms could Xiao Ye advance? The ancestral empress stared blankly at Xiao Ye with her proud and bright eyes. As a being of the cosmic realm, she yearned for it immensely. Stuck at the peak of the Emperor realm for 150,000 years, no one longed to advance to the star domain realm more than her. The deity of destiny stepped forward, approaching Xiao Ye, a chill flashing in her eyes, and coldly said, "Human Emperor, there's something I need to confirm with you. If I regain my memories, will you still consider me your wife?" Xiao Ye subconsciously replied, "Yes." The coldness in the deity of destiny's eyes intensified, staring intently. "And now, what do you consider me?" Xiao Ye was taken aback, somewhat confused by the deity of destiny. She shouldn't have any memories right now, so why would she care about this? He weighed their relationship in his mind and smiled slightly. "Friend. Without memories, you are a completely new life. I won't bind you to my side, I respect you." The deity of destiny shook her head, scoffing, "Isn't this a case of starting something and then abandoning it? Even if I lose my memories, I am still your wife. Although I don't remember what happened before, I can feel the extreme love and affection I have for you deep within my heart. Starting something and then abandoning it?" Xiao Ye's face darkened, and he said speechlessly, "God of destiny, without your memories, you are a new life, a new individual. If I were to force you to be my wife, that would be disrespectful. Could it be that you've automatically assumed the identity of my wife?" The god of destiny shook her head, then nodded, somewhat bewildered, and said, "I don't know either. I just feel that while you were modifying the body of the god of reincarnation, my ex-wife was still in the living room, separated by a wall, and you forcibly took her body and made love to her. Don't you think that's inappropriate? The primordial queen also looked at him strangely. Xiao Ye's face darkened even more, and he complained, I was forced. The god of reincarnation imprisoned me, I had no power to resist. She was the one who initiated everything, I could only silently endure it. The primordial queen and the god of destiny opened their mouths in astonishment. It turned out, the god of reincarnation had forced him. The primordial queen was furious. Fine. The god of reincarnation beat me to it. She has no respect for elders. I, the leader, haven't even made a move, yet she, the underling, has already struck. No way. When she returns, I'll have to teach her a lesson. She stopped abruptly. Xiao Ye stared at her in astonishment. Your Majesty, do you mean you also want to, with me? The primordial queen's expression froze. Oh no, she'd accidentally revealed her plan. She waved her hands hastily, her eyes darting around. Human Emperor, you misheard. Don't take it seriously. Xiao Ye's heart eased, but doubt lingered. The god of destiny sighed and said, Human Emperor, can you take me to the place where my predecessor died before I extracted my will? I want to see what happened to my predecessor. Xiao Ye immediately replied, of course. He owed the obsessive body Gu Qingchang far too much, and felt a deep sense of guilt. If he could make amends, he would be more than willing. A golden portal appeared. Just before Xiao Ye stepped inside, he received a telepathic message from Zhang Zunan. My lord, the mistress has been resurrected. You should fulfill your promise to me now. What did he promise her? Xiao Ye frowned, recalling a slight jolt of surprise in his heart. Before Gu Qingcheng, the possessed being, extracted his will, he seemed to have promised Zhang Zunan that after the mistress's resurrection, he would help her through her heat cycle. The heat cycle in human form. What's wrong? The deity asked, puzzled. Xiao Ye blushed slightly. You and the ancestral empress go out first. I need to discuss some things with my little maid. The deity coldly nodded her delicate chin. The empress and I will wait for you outside. The ancestral empress and she went out. Xiao Ye breathed a sigh of relief. At this moment, the time difference was 1 day on Blue Star and 1,000 days in the Time-Space Palace. He helped Zhang Zunan through her heat cycle in the Time-Space Palace, which would only take 2 hours. 2 hours in the Time-Space Palace is equivalent to 4 hours, which is only 15 seconds on the outside world. For the primordial queen and the god of destiny, it would only take them the time it takes to drink water on the outside world. Xiao Ye chuckled and used the Time-Space Palace's teleportation privileges to transport himself to the center of the world, to a large villa complex. At the very center was a super palace. Surrounding it were various smaller villas. Each beast girl occupied a villa. There were tens of thousands of villas. They could accommodate not only 10 beast girls, but even 1,000. Of course, Cheng Bingxi lived in the super palace. That was their exclusive residence. Currently, all the beast girls were cultivating, making the main road quite deserted. Xiao Ye arrived at Zhang Zunun's small villa. As soon as he entered, Zhang Zunun pressed him down onto the sofa. Zhang Zunun, wearing a white, flowing fairy dress, gracefully walked out of the bedroom. Her bright eyes and white teeth were breathtakingly beautiful. Holding 2 towels, she pulled Xiao Ye into the bathroom, her face earnest. My lord, I haven't given you a bath yet. Please, my lord, grant this little maid's request. Today is not only my heat period, but I also need my lord's help. I also need to fulfill my duties as a little maid. I will bathe you, warm your bed, and relieve your desires, etc. This time, Xiao Ye, unusually, did not refuse, and said softly, all right. However, the time is only 2 hours, which is 4 hours on Blue Star. I also need to accompany your mistress. Zhang Zunan was somewhat moved, her eyes filled with spring, and she said sweetly, my lord, you are too good to me. I don't know how to repay you. I'm really useless. I'm still only at the peak of the quasi-emperor realm, and haven't broken through to the emperor realm yet. I can't help my lord much. I can't protect my lord either. Xiao Ye shook his head and said, it's alright. I call you little maid, but I don't really treat you as a servant. You are my partner, not a servant. Zhang Zunan stubbornly said, no, I only want to be my lord's little maid. Xiao Ye said helplessly, alright then, I command you. Remove your armor. Zhang Zunan immediately complied. The flowing, wide-sleeved fairy dress was placed on the clothes rack, and what appeared in Xiao Ye's field of vision was a stunningly beautiful body. Not an ounce of excess fat, Everything was just right. A perfect body. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.